Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
And welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another crazy, wild adventure that we like to call Crime and Sports. And we have a crazy one for you. Super non-traditional Crime and Sports episode. Not a regular sport. Not a United States guy. We're going to Australia for a sport we've never done before. So, very cool. We're getting into something completely new and one of the craziest stories ever. This has been requested by our Australian listeners, and this is really a story you certainly don't have to be Australian to enjoy because it's a fucking international is the way I would put this story. Definitely, I would call it that. Quickly, before we get to that, just want to say thanks for all that you do for us. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. Get all of your merchandise. Also, tickets will be on sale very soon. I don't know the exact date. Soon. They might be on sale right now if you're listening to this. Go there and check it out. We're going to tell you the list of our small town murder dates for live shows in 2023. We have a list of cities and dates. We'll hit you at the end of the show with those. So if you want to know about it, definitely do the end of the show, and we will tell you everything you need to know. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all of your bonus materials. And people have asked us, we have to reiterate it every week. Definitely, we want people to understand. Once Crime and Sports regular show is over at the end of this year, Patreon Crime and Sports will continue. We have a ton of stuff to do on Patreon, years worth, but it's just not enough to do whole full-length shows. So that's why we're ending that. So right now, though, for Patreon, every other week you're going to get 2 new episodes, 1 Crime and Sports, 1 Small Town Murder, and of course you're going to get your shout-out. What you're going to get this week for Crime and Sports, very fun thing that we found when we were looking, I think it was the Real McCoy guy, the boxer. If you look through the sports section of like a 1900, 1901, 1902 newspaper, outrageous advertisements, just wild medical claims, things claiming to cure terrible ailments, very simple things that have been debunked for 100 years, just poison they're selling you that you should ingest and it helps you. Crazy advertisements. And
approaches that are now illegal.
Oh, absolutely. And weird sports headlines, all sorts of weird stuff going on. So we're going to go through an old newspaper and have some fun with that. And then for Small Town Murder, it's that time of year again. It is Love After Lockup season. And they just wrapped up their season, and we're going to talk all about it on Love After Lockup.
Finally gave us the finale.
Oh, God, can't wait to talk about that. That's so much fun. That is patreon.com/crime and sports, and you get access to everything, like we said, and a shout out at the end of the show. So, that said, let's get right into this, because holy balls is this wild. We're going to talk about an Aussie here, Reginald Spiers Jr., of course. Reginald James Spiers Jr. is his name. His nickname is Reg. Everybody calls him Reg. Yeah. And the fucked up thing, his name is Spiers, Spiers. So, not like a spear, but Spiers. Right. But he's a fucking javelin thrower.
Is that right?
Whose name is Spiers. That's awesome. He was like, I mean, come on. What are the odds of that shit?
A shot put guy named Rock.
Yeah, it's a bowler named Ball. It's amazing. So there we go. Reg Spiers is what he goes by here. He's born December 14th, 1941 in Adelaide, South Australia. So he is an Aussie and loves it over there. He's a big, enthusiastic Australian. He's super into that. He doesn't matter about his childhood. I could have made up a whole thing, and it doesn't matter. We'll put it that way. Who gives a shit? It seems like his childhood seems pretty normal. His parents are, I know, at a much later date are still together. When they're in like 80 years old, they seem like stable people. His mom's always cooking like desserts and baked goods. The house always smells like cinnamon and vanilla, he said. So that's good. His dad seems like a stable guy. Nobody really got the shit beaten out of him too badly. It doesn't seem like. So
pretty good life.
Decent upbringing here. There's not a lot of like people who've had super traumatic upbringings that turn to track and field. It's less common. Pick up the javelin and just take at it one day. It's usually more stable than that. It seems like a lot of driving and things like that. You need to be driven to meets and stuff.
Carl Lewis had a really fucked up childhood.
Running would be the exception because you could just have to run away from things and people. That could be a thing.
Yeah,
I got fast because I had to be.
Right, high jumpers with a family lineage of bail jumpers.
Yeah, my father used to jump over walls. That's how this. I inherited it. It was perfect. So he ends up. He's over 6 feet tall, which is very big for back then. He takes up javelin when he's a teenager and ends up like a really good javelin guy here. He ends up qualifying for the 1962 Commonwealth Games in Perth, Australia, where he came in 5th in the javelin throw. His best throw was 69.70 meters.
That seems far.
Seems like a long way to throw a javelin.
What is that?
Well, I looked it up now, and that's all very good back then. So I looked up what's the records now, because I'm sure they're way different.
Oh, with the steroids and everything?
And I'm sure the javelins are even different.
Yeah,
like I'm sure everything is
It's probably
better.
designed to be thrown like that.
Something, yeah. Back then it was you had to carve your own or some shit. I don't know, but either way, now the records are all like 95 meters. So that's how much farther people are throwing it now than they were back then. Yeah. So
30, that's like 90 feet further.
That's a lot. It's way fucking farther. Yeah. 90. Yeah. It's like 90 feet further. Yeah. That's how much.
Wow.
It's a lot. They're really chucking them pretty good up there. So either way, he that's what he does. And he continues to compete and compete. He does not. He wants to get on the 64 Australian Olympic team, and he does not get on the team, as we'll talk about.
He doesn't make it.
But he really tried hard. He traveled to England in 1964 to attempt to qualify, because I guess they had some qualifying thing over there. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But quickly, he was 5th in the 62 Commonwealth Games, and then in 60 and 61 to qualify for those 2 seasons, he came in 3rd in the whatever Australian some shit games, the Australian track and field games here. He comes in 3rd in 60 and 61, comes in 2nd in 61 and 62. So that's pretty good, it seems like, I guess.
Sure.
And later on, he'll continue. But first, he goes to England to try to qualify for the Olympics. Okay. Now, he gets over there on a tanker ship.
Oh.
He said it took months to get there. They stop constantly. And he basically worked for his passage. Like, hey, he told like a ship captain, like, I'll peel potatoes. I'll do whatever I got to do. I got to get to England for this. So, what do I need to do? So he ended up.
Get on. We'll be there in the fall.
That's kind of how it was. Yeah. It was like It was the 1700s or something. Like he's going on a Spanish galleon or some shit. So he ends up getting over there, not qualifying for the games. And now he's stuck in England without a penny to his fucking name.
Yeah.
He's got some friends over there, but it's expensive to fly from England to Australia in the 60s. And it's expensive now. And this is back then, flying was just way more expensive back then, obviously. It just was a much more tricky endeavor. Less people were doing it, so there was more cost of now every
luxury.
Yeah, now every schmuck that fucking, that thinks Arby's is good food can fly. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody can fly
for $69.
now. Yeah, they'll throw you in there. They'll figure it out. So apologies if you think Arby's is good food, but really that's on you. That's on you. And you should apologize to your gastrointestinal system for putting it through that kind of strain on a daily basis. So he ended up in England. He's hanging out with his friends. He's got a guy named John McSorley who he hangs out with. That's one of his buddies, and that's whose house he's staying at, or whose apartment he's staying at, I should say. So he talks about how can I get home? He's just trying to figure out how to get home. And he asks his friend John, because Reg, when he got out of school, worked at the Adelaide airport for a little while. Okay. So he says, well, is there any way, do you know anybody at the airport? Because I knew, like, if from my people I knew at the airport, I could get like a free ticket. I could get like a pass or something. So he says that John, his friend, said, I know somebody at the airport, because John used to be a baggage handler with Air France, just starting to sound like Goodfellas. I picture Frenchie.
Yeah.
So he said I could check that out. And, Reg said, yeah, please, I'd love that. He said, I if I can get a free ticket back to Australia, I'd be gold here. So hook me up. Now, John, by the way, or I'm sorry, not John, Reg, in Australia has a wife and a young daughter.
And he can just leave for months and months and months.
That's what they're all pretty perplexed about. All of his friends are like, you're like just gone on the other side of the world for like months. Yeah. You just tell her, I don't know when I'll be home from 10,000 miles away. And she says, okay, like, who the fuck is this lady?
I'm going to go try to throw some shit around and win something. I'll be back.
I'll be back. When? I don't know. It takes a couple months to get there. So who knows when I can come back?
From what?
No, I won't at all. Fend for yourself. Keep the baby alive. Call you when I call you. Peace. Yeah. And then he just fucking runs out and, throws a spear into the door as he leaves. That's his calling card.
Fascinating choice.
Something to remember me by, honey. So that's what he's doing. And his friend John is like, Jesus Christ, he figured that Reg would have calmed down a little bit since the last time he saw him because, he got married and had a baby.
Yeah.
Said usually guys chill out a little bit with that. And he said, this guy.
Generally, yeah. That sobers you right up.
Nope, not Reg. Reg keeps what he's doing what he's doing. So he's broke. He doesn't have a return ticket. He's got nothing. He doesn't even have money for himself, so he can't bring his wife. Because at first he thought maybe I'll bring them to London. Maybe that is what I'll do. And then he's like, well, I can't even afford to get myself there. How the fuck am I going to – what are we going to do when they get here? Then what?
Can the kid peel potatoes?
Maybe he can. Maybe he does it. So his friend says – so he tells his friend John, like, I need a place to stay while I'm here. I mean, I'm stuck here for a while. And his friend said, if you're only staying a couple months, then, I guess
stay with me.
Find something, work, and then get your money, and you could stay with me till you get a plane ticket and get your ass back to Australia. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's there for 4 months. So again, he's been gone like 8 months from home.
He's not going to recognize that kid.
No, the kid's not going to know who the hell he is. He won't. I think he's been gone. I don't think the kid was 8 months old when he left. So he's been gone for most of the kid's life, generally, here. And
fascinating.
His wife cannot be happy at all with him.
She's got to be furious.
Yeah. So he ends up being very upset here. One day he comes home and he's all pissed off, Reg. He comes back into the apartment. John's hanging out in there, and he's just freaking out. He's all pissed off, and his friend said, what the fuck happened? What's wrong with you? And he says, quote, everything's happened. That's what Reg says. Everything's happened. He said, and then I picked up this postcard after work from Marion, who's his wife, and he said, from work from Marion, while the cat's away and all that, and I can't do a damn thing about it right now because my wallet got stolen. So he says his wallet got stolen. So his friend goes, who are you talking about? Who is this guy that you think that your wife is with now because you got a postcard? Did she say she's with a guy in the postcard? He's like, no. They're like, well, then why do you think she's with a guy? And he says, it's this guy. He's a jumped up second-rate athlete, and now he's a lawyer, and he works where she used to work before the baby. And so, I don't like what's going on. And they said, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? What's going on? And your wallet got stolen? And he said, yeah, wallet got stolen out of my jacket pocket. He said, I left it in the staff room where he was working. Right. Mm-hmm. He said, it's the first time I've ever left it in there, and it's fucking gone. He said, I had all my money that I'd saved for the last 4 months in there, had everything to go, to fly back home soon. Now I'm super fucked. I don't know what I'm going to do. And now my wife's banging some fucking lawyer. Okay. These are my problems.
These are the grievances of this world.
Yeah. So his friend's like, what do you back up to the first one?
That's heavy.
who's your wife banging? Let's get to that. Let's deal with that first. And he said, he's banging this fucking guy named Dean Waterford. That's his fucking name. He's so mad. He goes, and I had a dream about him last night, and that's how I know that it's definitely true.
Okay.
So this guy's like, wait a second. Your wife didn't tell you she's banging him, and you had a dream about him, so that means that your wife's definitely banging him.
You're dreaming about guys?
Yeah, well, with his wife. That's what he's dreaming about.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's dreaming about it, just sitting and watching and stroking in the corner situation. Or
he doesn't know that dreams are not clairvoyant activities. They're actually your brain thinking and creating scenarios. He doesn't know that?
No. He thinks he's psychic, apparently.
And he sees things.
Subconsciously psychic. And he is going to do, like I said, I don't know if he was into it. I don't know if he was like a Jerry Falwell Jr. situation where he's just like digging it in the corner or like what's happening here. But
watching the pool boy hammer.
Yeah, who knows? We don't know. He said, though, I know that. So his friend said, well, maybe it's platonic, if that's what you think. Now, There's no even knowing that that's even part of it. Maybe
we don't even know they're doing anything.
And then his friend said, come on, it's not anything if it's a dream. You're just tired, he says. You've had your wallet stolen. You're mentally exhausted. He said, we've had a lot of late nights. We've been drinking all the time. And now you had a shit day at work and you're worn out and you're stressed. You're getting paranoid. Calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Reg takes a deep breath and says, you don't realize it. God damn it. She's a good looking woman. Blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, for fuck's sake. He's not gonna stop. So
he doesn't get it.
He's shouting. He keeps picking up his duffel bag and throwing it against a different wall for emphasis. So he'll throw it against the wall, then pick it up, walk around for a minute, yell around, then throw it at a different wall for emphasis. They're just like, whoa, his bag is taking a whooping here.
Something in there is broken.
Holy shit. So he says, they said that, he says, he's going over all this, and they're saying you're reading too much into it. Jesus Christ. And they said, no, look, here's the postcard, Reg says. Read it for yourself, God damn it. And he like flings it like a Frisbee at him, flicks it at him like a ninja star. So the guy's looking at it on the front. It's a postcard, and it's got an aerial view of Adelaide. So it's like, that's nice. That's where he's from. You'd want to see a picture of that. And it reads this. This is the card. Dear Reggie, I'm hoping you're still staying with your friend John at this address. Fair, I would say. I mean, she's writing him. Everyone's been asking about you, and your mom phones nearly every week wanting to know when you're coming home. She's convinced you're going to miss your brother's wedding. Megan's well, that's his daughter, by the way. She's grown so much you won't recognize her. Yeah. Imagine if go back to your marriage. Imagine your daughter is a baby. You leave for 8 months. What kind of postcards are you getting?
Oh, boy.
What kind of postcards?
Oh,
no pretty pictures on the front, I'll tell you that much.
It's a blank.
And on the back, it's just curse words in Sharpie. That's it.
In all capitals, and they don't even go together. Fuck, shit, goddamn.
And she'd be right. That's the other part.
Yeah.
She'd be absolutely right for fucking writing that. That's the thing, because holy shit, your baby doesn't recognize you because you've been gone for most of her life. Perfect. She goes,
shit, goddamn, I'll make sure the baby hates you.
Oh, yeah, the baby's definitely going to hate you. Won't recognize you, but when she finds out who you are, she'll know to hate you.
I've been showing her pictures every day so that when you do show up, when you do turn up, she's going to know to hate you.
She's good at throwing darts at your pictures. She hits you right in between the eyes. She then goes on to say, Mom babysat for me last week so I could have a night out with my old workmates. Assuming you'll be back soon, love, Marion, XXX. So.
Oh, not a single O?
Not a single O. But
bitch.
This bitch. She said, so I could have a night out with my old workmates, which means that guy who's a lawyer in her old office, so she's fucking him, clearly. Between the lines. His friend reads that, and he's like, he reads it, then he turns it back over to the front, back over to the back. He's like looking for some, print he didn't see somewhere. By the way, I blow this guy, and his jizz tastes great, like something really over the top.
Is there a picture of a penis and a vagina and an arrow pointing it with his name and vagina me?
The guy said, there's no mention of that Waterford guy in here. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what are you doing? And he said, they said, what's wrong with seeing old workmates? I've done that. And Reg said, nothing at all, so long as one of them isn't that fucking guy. So they're like, Jesus Christ. He then says, women like to throw in little teasers to see how you react. That's what she's doing. She's just giving you the tip.
You're reacting, my friend.
Oh, you're reacting. Yeah, holy crap. So then his other friend's like, that happened to me, actually, with this one girl. So that's his friends will spin you out.
Oh, no.
No! And his one friend who's trying to keep him sane's got to be like, you fucking shut the fuck up. Don't bring her up. Don't bring it up.
Stop with your bitter shit.
God damn it. We're never going to get him to stop now.
You're not making it better.
He's going to put a hole through our drywall with that duffel bag eventually. So, this guy said, she said if I didn't marry her, she was going to go out with her boss. And they said, well, what did you do? And the guy said, I said I wouldn't marry her. And they said, so what did you do then? What did she do? And the guy says, she married her boss. So that was that.
She made good on her threat.
Yeah. So they said, calm down, Reg, you're overreacting. And Reg said, you don't understand. This isn't just about him. It's about everything. Don't get me wrong. He goes, I tried out. I did that. I wouldn't have missed that for the world. But he goes, I missed out on the Olympics. I still had a great time, but now I got to go. He said, Jesus Christ, apart from being homesick and missing my family, I got to go to my brother's wedding, my own wedding anniversary. He's like, I told you about that. She wants me to be there for that. And at this rate, I'm also going to miss my daughter's fucking wedding 20 years from now if I don't get back there. He's like, Jesus Christ. So his friend said, how about you write her and explain why you've been held up? How about that?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Let's try rational first.
So Reg said, no, forget letters. No, rational is out the window. We're done with rational.
Enough writing.
Wait till you hear his plan. The rational is is as far away from this as England is to Australia. Put it that way. That's how far away. He's trying to get to rational, but he's that far away from it.
Had enough of this pen to paper shit?
Not happening. He said, my mind's made up. I got to get back quick. Mm-hmm. And they go, well, how? You just got your wallet stolen now.
Right.
And you still didn't have enough money even when you had a wallet. So what are you going to do? And he says, you don't think I'm going to put a little thing like no money before my marriage, do you? That's what he says.
Dude, maybe not, but there's like 12,000 miles.
It's far, bro. It's super far. I don't think you could swim it. So his friend's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, I'd love to help you, but I don't know. How can I help you with this? So they all just sat there. And one of his friends said, we could all chip in, but you're going to have to work for a few more weeks. And, right. we'll all start trying to get money. So then Reggie said, with what I earn, it could take months. He said, I need to go like now, like this week. I need to go, not in a month, not in 2 months. This is a 3-day plan, not a 3-month plan.
Right. This is why credit cards were made.
So they're like, well, dude, I don't know what you're going to do. I mean, shit. So Reg at this point is working at the airport. That's where he got a job. So they said, you work at the airport, you'd probably get a discount. He goes, we all chip in, you get a discount, and, and he says, I haven't got time for all of that. Do you understand? There's a lawyer trying to poke my wife right now. Do you get that?
Okay? Is he going to stow away?
Yeah. He said, you're talking weeks, and while I'm here, this guy's over there plowing my wife. Not going to happen. I got to get back. So they said, we'll think of something. And then he then said, I know what to do. He said, this is it. I figured it out.
Yeah.
And what he figures out is they had gotten something shipped there, and there was like a big box sitting on the ground.
Big crate, yeah.
Not even a big crate, just a big box just sitting there. Not big enough to like get in or anything, but just like a pretty big box. And he says, this is my free ride home. That's what Reg says. And they said, what are you going to do? Or I don't understand. I don't get it. And he says, listen. He goes, not this box, obviously, but something like it. Then Reg says, I've been thinking about boxes for a few days. I've been watching the loaders at the airport move all those crates back and forth, right? Yeah. And they said, his friend John says, what, do you mean you go in a box? And he says, Reg says, go in it, go home in it. He says, you blokes can stick a label on me and send me as air freight. Right? So they're like, what?
Where to?
What are you talking about? They're like, how do you do that? So they're laughing, and he's like, I'm fucking serious. He goes, I'm not laughing at this at all. And then his one friend said, dude, you're going to end up paying more as freight than as a passenger. It'll be more expensive. That's by the pound. That's so stupid. They go, it's fucking funny. They're all laughing. It's a novel idea, but you're going to do that. And Reg says, you all think I'm joking, don't you? He goes, I'm bloody serious. I'm serious. And his friend says, shut the fuck. Concentrate on shit that's actually possible. Let's live in reality.
The reason you're here right now talking to us is because you don't have money to go. If we ship you, it's more money.
He said, no, this is doable. I can do it. I can. And he says, his friend goes, you're not honestly contemplating sticking yourself in a box all the way back to Australia. And he said, you bet I am. Just got to find someone to make it. Someone who's got a bit of a hand at woodwork. Okay. So John, his friend, luckily can build anything. He's really good at building shit. So John put his hands up and said, I'm not fucking building a box for you to go.
Don't you look at me.
It's exactly what he said. No way. Not happening. You could see a sitcom that way. No. But they all looked at him. And his friend said, what about pressure? What about the planes? What about that? What about the pressure? Right. You're going to be fucked. Your head's going to explode. And then John says, I know this, he says about Reg, I know this bloke better than you. Encourage him and he'll do it. Just don't even just stop talking about it. So then Reg said, don't need any encouragement. I'm definitely doing it. I'm finding out about pressurization at work tomorrow. I'll figure it out. What? So his friends are laughing. They're like, this fucking guy isn't serious. The friends that don't know him well are laughing. Meanwhile, his friend John's like, oh, God, he's really going to do this.
He's going to do this.
He's going to figure out a way to ship himself. So he ends up asking all these questions, and his friend says, hold on a minute. Let me get this right, Reg. You're saying that you seriously are considering getting into a wooden box and shipping yourself over 10,000 miles in cargo. Like that's your honestly thing. That's literally insane. Like he's like, that's certifiably crazy. You're out of your mind.
What? Forget all the logistics of environment. What if you have to pee?
Well, they said, that's insane. You can't be considering it. Reg said, not considering, doing.
Reg, no.
It's happening. So then his friend said, dude, seriously, you're never going to make it. Like, you can't fucking do this. And he said, you want to bet? I'll make it. Reg is like, I will absolutely make it. So his friend Tom says, it's an interesting idea. Let's just talk it through and, maybe, let's just, they're trying to just calm him down. He'll get over it. He'll punch himself out. He'll come up with something else.
Let's take stock of this crazy idea.
So Reg then said, it's going to happen. And his friend said, I don't think it's ever happened before. Anyone ever heard of someone being posted abroad? And his friend said, no, that's because it's so fucking dangerous. He goes, the box, whatever box it is, could end up as your goddamn coffin. That's what's going to happen.
Yes.
You're going to be dead in a box. They said, this is a prank that could really go, this could be bad. And Reg goes, it's not a prank. I bloody well need to get home. You're forgetting I spent weeks on that tanker. I know how to be gone for a long time. I can do this. So they're like, this is crazy. So then his friend goes, okay, let's talk about technicalities, logistics then, if you really are serious about this. What about things like needing a piss?
Yeah.
There you go. He says, quote, I'd have a bottle, 2 bottles, one for drinking, one for pissing. And his friend says, what about cost? Again, back to the cost thing. The whole point of you can't fly is you don't have the money. It costs more. It's going to cost more to ship you than it would to fly you.
And every time you talk about another item in the box, it becomes more expensive.
It's more expensive, and it's by weight and all that kind of shit. Right. So, and his friend, who's the would-be box builder, he said, dude, he's right, Reg. He said, you get charged way more for freight charges, and you'd end up owing more than the cost of a ticket. It's just crazy. You can't do that. And Reg said, dead right. You're right about that. He said, good point, Reg said. Economy fare at the moment is 228 quid. A bit of freight about my size and weight, reckon about 350 is what he says. So it's going to be over $100 more. He says, but I won't be forking out a dime or a quid or whatever the fuck he said. And they said, how? And he said, quote, I'll be COD, cash on delivery, nothing to pay. So like, hold on a second.
He's going to COD himself.
You're going to COD yourself in a big box that I have to build across the world.
You'll likely be DOA.
You're going to be COD and DOA. We got a COD DOA going down here at the airport. Somebody want to do my COD for this DOA? Anybody? We got to do it ASAP because he's starting to get stinky out here. If you could.
Starting to smell BAD.
Starting to smell BAD. We need to do it definitely ASAP. Let's get it out. So should we inject him with this many CCs? No, we're too late for CCs. This is the DOA. They said, his friend said, I've processed the forms at work. Stacks of stuff get paid for at the other end, is what Reg said. He goes, I know this. They get paid for it. That's what COD is. We could do this. And John said, and who exactly is going to pay for it at the other end?
Right.
And he said, that's the point. There won't be anything to collect. The person who's supposed to be collecting me won't exist because they'll be invented. I'll just make up a person. Right? He said
And then what?
He said, by the time the airport people find the empty box, I'll be long fucking gone.
Oh, so it's going to be an open from the inside box.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is crazy. The idea is nuts. So his friend actually laughed. His one friend said, it's kind of fucking brilliant. I got to be honest with you. It's kind of brilliant. Like, it's dangerous, but if you pull it off, it's pretty goddamn brilliant. And so then John said, okay, let's say I make you a box. Let's just...
Hypothetical.
I make you a box. And I'm not saying I'll make you a box, by the way. He said, that's not what I'm saying. But let's just say I do. He said, even if you get all the paperwork sorted, how do you get out at the other end?
There it is.
When you're in a cargo warehouse, then what happens?
With other boxes stacked on top of you.
How do you do that? And he said, I'll break out. And they said, well, how will you do that? And he said, I don't know, rubber mallet or something. Yeah, a mallet, because then it won't be so noisy.
Okay, so we're going to have a mallet in there, too.
So, yeah, his friend said, this is getting very criminal now. Now you're going to be in like in a customs warehouse with, that seems like a crime.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles...
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
He said, they're going to get you for illegal entry over there. And he said, no, I'll have my Aussie passport. No problem. He goes, I'm legal. I'm allowed to be there. Sure, I got in a fucked up way, but they won't care. Once I'm there, I'm there. What are they going to do? Kick me out? I live there. That's my country. I was born there. So they're like, he's got it all figured out. Reg says, you guys, you drop me off. I'll have forms on my outsides saying I'm going to be collected. I'll bust out at the airport. Perth, probably easier to escape from than Adelaide.
Yeah.
And he said, I can do this. And his friend said, you're out of your fucking mind. You're going to die. He said, you could die. You could be killed, get crushed. You could suffocate.
Yeah.
Like, I can't build a box that you're going to die in. I'll feel terrible. That's going to be awful.
That's the other point. When you ship something, you don't know what that box goes through to get to the other end.
You have no idea.
Good.
No,
Yeah.
you see it banged up and scratched. And it's got to be going through something. So his friend said, "Yeah, and if he gets caught, we'll all be up on charges too. Manslaughter if he dies, manslaughter, accessory. Who the hell knows?" They said this is crazy. Then he says, "No, if he gets caught, we'll just plead ignorance. Like we didn't know he was in there. He asked us to ship something. We didn't know it was him. I don't know. We just did him a favor."
He wasn't there. He just said, "Ship this box."
Yeah. So he says, Reg says, "Are you saying you think it's impossible not to get caught?"
Oh, boy.
And his friend said, 50-50, I think. I think it's 50-50. And Reg said, "I'm prepared to bet on myself. I think I can pull this off if it's 50-50. He said, "If you don't want any part of it, no hard feelings, but, I could use the help." So they're like, this is fucking crazy. So they talk all about it. They go down to the pub. They talk about it a little more. They have a couple of pints, which this is before they were drinking. This is his idea.
That stuff usually helps the clarity really form. So
it does. Yeah. You don't have crazy out there ideas when you've had a few pints in you, do you? That's when your ideas get really, really sharp and laser focused and
yeah, they really
real pragmatic. That's the word I'm looking for.
You work out the kinks on the rough draft over a couple of pints.
Most good businesses, that's how they were developed, shit hammered. So, which is probably true. So they said, this is crazy, man. Are we going to actually do this? And his friends are all talking to each other afterwards, and they're like, he really wants to do this. What are we going to do?
We have to do it now.
Yeah, the one guy says, I hope your wife is worth it, man. This is nuts.
She seems great.
So, I mean, geez, she must be great. And then finally, his friend John says, "Okay, you lunatic maniac.
Yeah.
If you really want a box that bad, I'll build you a box." So,
wow.
After a few pints, he agrees. He gives in to building the box. And he says, this John guy says, "Because knowing you'll do it anyway. God knows what you'd end up in, some kind of agricultural piece of junk that falls apart before liftoff." He said, "You don't stand a chance of pulling this off unless someone makes you a half-decent, sturdy container. And looks like that idiot's me. I'm your guy."
I trust me.
Yeah. So he said, if this box is supposed to get you to the other end of the side of the world, it warrants a bit of time for design. He goes, I can't just nail a pine box together and get you in. It has to be... Right. We have to figure out how you'll actually survive
Insulate
this.
it, airtight it, yeah.
Yeah. So Reg brings home a pamphlet from work that states that all cargo holds on planes were pressurized. So that's good. That means, because that's where they keep pets. So they have to.
Right.
So, people ship pets down there. So he goes, that does it. He goes, plenty of oxygen. Let's fucking do it.
That does it.
That does it. I can breathe. I'm in. So they're drawing all these boxes up, and he says, Reg says, breathing, seeing, eating, pissing. He said, that's what I need in there. He goes, room for a backpack and a duffel bag, food and drink, and security is what he says. Yep. So that's what we need. And he says, I don't want to be, it has to be secure. I don't want to be falling out when they start moving me about. He goes, that could be bad. So his friend says, well, you get the paperwork started. I don't want to be making the goddamn thing and then find out it's not going to happen because they won't let you ship it or whatever the hell. So he goes, make sure you're allowed to ship it. So Reg has to state the name and address of the sender and recipient. That's part of the gig when you're sending something overseas. So he said, we can't make the sender any of us. And I'm sure you don't want to, do all of that. So they said it's got to be a company of some kind, as Reg says. An ordinary person isn't going to send a giant box to Australia like this, a big crate. It's got to be sent by a company to another company, a company that makes stuff that needs special stuff to make it, he said. Something like that. Some weird shit that they don't know what it is even. You know? He said, his friend said, like a shoe company or something. So Reg says, exactly, let's make it a shoe company, okay? Let's make it what you guys call like a fancy shoe company. Let's do that. Let's do a fancy deal. He said, how about the Supreme Shoe Company? Oh. Then his friend said, sounds a bit Chinese, which the funny part does, because it sounds like an American buffet or something like that, where it's Supreme #1. happy best. That's an old joke because it's true and it still exists. There's a bunch of them in Phoenix, too.
Yeah.
Whole bunch
but
of those.
It's super funny that they say that then because today a very expensive designer was called Supreme.
The Supreme, exactly. And back then, sounds a bit Chinese.
Sounds a bit knockoff to me.
So 1964. So Reg says, maybe it is Chinese. Why not? Who cares? He said, why can't the Chinese? He says, quote, why can't the Chinese have shoe companies? He goes, there's loads of Chinese companies in Australia. Why not a shoe company?
Feels racist to you boys.
Yeah, you think? So they said, well, what are we sending? What do we say we're sending in the, in the lading, the bill of lading there? And they said, the stuff for shoes. Just stuff for shoes.
Just right. Stuff for
shoe stuff. Shoe stuff. English shoe stuff. So his friend said, plastic? And his other friend said, like emulsion stuff? And Reg said, plastic emulsion.
Yep.
And his other friend said, what is that? And they go, I don't know. Who fucking knows? It sounds good. It sounds technical, like something for shoes.
Yeah. Nobody that works on a shipping dock knows either.
That's exactly what they thought. They go, who cares? It doesn't matter. That sounds technical. It's a company sending to a Chinese shoe company in Australia. I'm sure they need that. Plastic emulsion. Sure, why not?
Sounds like something that pollutes rivers. Let's send it.
Yeah. So they worked out that they're going to send a box of plastic emulsion from the Southern Chemical Company at 87 Gloucester Road in London to the Supreme Shoe Company in Perth, Australia.
Sounds great.
The box is going to be, they found out the largest dimensions allowed on the form on this one, so they built the box to those specifications, which is 5 feet by 3 feet by 2 feet 6 inches. So
That's a giant box.
5 foot long, 3 foot wide, 2 foot 6 inches high.
15 square feet.
15 square feet. Not a place where you'd want to hole up for a few days, though.
No,
that is very uncomfortable.
It's tight.
That's pretty goddamn tight, especially if there's other shit in there besides you. So they're going to send it COD. It's going to be collected by a Mr. Graham. He put on there. So he said, this is great. Cash on delivery. Best way to travel. I love it. So he ends up they get up enough money to purchase the supplies for the box, which is just some wood here. They got 26 5-foot-long softwood planks, 6 inches wide, and 8 6-foot lengths of 2 by 2 inch timber, a 3-foot square sheet of hardwood, 6 dozen screws, 6 dozen nails, a pot of wood glue, and that's how it is. So that's what he's got.
Sounds like a solid structure.
He's going to build that. So, yeah, he's going to get back there. This is what it's going to be. So as John's building it, his friend says, he's going to go through with this, isn't he?
He really is.
And his friends go, I don't think he's going to change his mind. I think he's doing it, John said. So says he misses his wife and he wants to see his little girl, but it's insane, but he's doing it. Like, that's life here. That's life with old Reg.
This is what javelin money is.
Yeah, this is what you have to do with javelin money. Yeah, not exactly on the cover of a Wheaties box here. This is a problem. So Reg goes to the freight dispatch to do the paperwork ahead of time at Heathrow Airport, and goes in there, goes up to the counter, and he sees the warnings all over the counter, advertising the serious nature of some sort of shipping crimes, criminal, fraudulent, duplicitous, bogus, all these different warnings. And he's like, oh, my God. He's like, holy shit, this is bad. He said he didn't even know what duplicitous meant, but he suspected it was probably what he was doing. I don't know what that is, but it's probably what I'm doing. So that's bad. Okay.
I'm shipping myself, so probably that.
Probably lying and being bad. Yeah, I don't know is what he says. So anyway, he gets up there, and the guy says, so your company wants to send a crate of plastic emulsion to Perth. The addresses are clear. He said, plastic emulsion. I don't think I've ever heard of that one before. And Reg goes, oh, really? That's surprising. He goes, been around for a long time.
At least 12 hours.
Since last night when we were shit-faced and I made it up. Remember that? That's how long it's been around for.
Weren't you at the bar?
No, that's right. You weren't there. It was me and my friends. Yeah, we made it up last night. Been around a long time.
What? Just being honest, all air travel should be COD.
It would make sense, yeah. Well,
if you don't get me where you said you were going to get me, I'm not paying you.
Can you imagine the brawls at the gate, though, as people are like, I'm not paying, motherfucker. People freak out now when they've already paid and they have $600 on the line and they're still freaking out getting thrown off planes. Imagine if they already got there.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You be nicer to me or I'm not paying a goddamn dime. It would be blood sport when they landed. Holy shit.
We landed. Welcome to Dallas. If you're connecting, you will pay on your next flight. Thank you for flying American.
You'd need to have like bouncers, like 2 giant bouncers at the doorway of the plane as people go out, like when they're collecting the to get into a club or some shit. So that's what you'd need there. Otherwise, you.
But I mean, you pay every product you get. You pay when you get it. Except for that bullshit.
Yeah, there's a
and
few
they
things.
never
Tickets.
do what they
like tickets to our shows in 2023. You pay before you get it, but trust us, it's worth it.
It'll happen.
Shut up and give me murder.com.
Airfare, they don't always do what they say they're going to do.
They clearly
I want
don't.
to pay after I get my service.
We've been there a lot. Hotels, you have to pay before you stay there, too. It's gas.
Not fair.
Those are the only things I could think of for that, though. Even a
not
restaurant,
right.
you eat all the food, then you pay for
Right,
it. If you
right.
sit down. If you go up to the counter, they want their money now.
Right now, yeah.
You're not going to be here very long. So the guy at the counter's like, okay, fine. I don't think I heard that. Oh, that surprises me. And he's like, whatever. I don't know. I'm a shipping clerk. What the fuck do I know about plastic?
I don't know fuck about Supreme shoes.
No. So they said, all right, we have an address for the Supreme Shoe Company in Perth. But and then they ask him, Mr. Graham has agreed to pay the freight charges on the other end. Is that right? And he said, that's right. Reg says, we've had so many problems with unpaid international accounts that we have a new policy of cash on delivery.
Uh-huh.
So the guy says, don't blame you. People are really trying to get away with everything these days. Ridiculous.
We get it.
So Reg,
just last week we had a guy trying to ship himself.
It's super weird, right? Yeah, he died in the air, actually. We shook him out of his little pine box there. He was stinking by the time we got out. Hard to get him out, too. He had entered rigor and just shoulder got hooked in there. Couldn't really... We had to snap his arm off to pull him out. It was pretty rough.
Really turned into a nice soup at the bottom of the box.
There was a slurry would be the best way to describe it.
It had a slow drip.
It was pretty bad there. So they're talking about this, and he says, Reg says, the shoe company needs this immediately, so when's the earliest I could book it in? And the clerk said, well, you're booking it with me today. I'm now going to find the earliest date for you to deliver deliver this. All the regulations for the box freight are on this sheet. This delivery bay closes at 4:30 in the afternoon. Get it here before that on the date we tell you, blah, blah, blah. So they said the earliest date it could be delivered would be the 17th. It would be Air India, Boeing 707 via Paris, Bombay, and Singapore. Then Perth.
Oh, my God.
Because it's shipping. That's what shipping is.
Oh, there's so many connections.
Oh, man, imagine that shit. So... Holy shit. So he comes back with this information back to the apartment, and his friend John is already building the box to his specifications. He made 2 rectangular frames from the 2x2-inch wood. He used these at each end as an inner shell that he clad horizontally with the 6x1-inch timbers screwed, nailed, and glued to the frames. Okay. So he's got like a cage in a box, kind of. So it's not that way. If the outside of it gets broken or something, we won't get stabbed with a forklift.
Right. He's building a small barn.
Yeah, he's just building a little.
It's got a frame and then a shell.
Yep, exactly. So that's how that goes. He left a penny width gap between each timber for ventilation, and so Reg could see out as well, which helps. Air is also good. So he's starting to get it together, and the neighbors are complaining that because he's in an apartment that he's been hammering for hours and hours and hours. There. Yeah, but he's like, Jesus, this is crazy. He makes the ends are removable. Okay, This is fucking interesting here. He checked his drawing. He made the lids so that they would sit flush with the exterior and be held in place by an inner lip inside the original frame. He was screwing in 8 vertical 6x1-inch timbers, 4 at each end to reinforce the entire structure, and that's what he's doing here. So Reg walks in and goes, oh, this is amazing. This holy shit, this is awesome. He goes, can I try it out? And his friend said, wait till morning. The glue's not all set yet. I got a few things to do, and, we'll do this. So He also says, I'm going to line it with paper so they can't see you.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's no seeing you in there. They can't look through and see if there's any light. He says, I'm going to line it with paper. He said, attach the straps, because we need straps on the top, and make hinges so you can lock yourself in from the inside at both ends.
Okay.
And Reg said, why both ends? And he said, in case an exit gets blocked and you get trapped in there.
Yeah, got to give you 2 exits, babe.
Got to give you
Fire
2 exits. So he's like, okay, Jesus Christ. So he finishes the box.
Mm-hmm.
The date comes around. He's ready to go. 1964, let's go. He's ready to ship himself. That morning, he wakes up. Takes a shower. He's ready to get in the box. He can't eat breakfast, though. He remembered, though. No breakfast. You don't want to fill up any. What are you going to have to do with breakfast?
Oh, yeah. Then you got to unload breakfast.
Yep.
But listen, you've got 3 connections, my friend. You're going to have to shit at some point.
Well, he has a plan. He'd eaten very little the night before. He said he ate a very small supper the night before to slow his digestive system down a little bit. So it would all slow. And he said he was really hoping to drop a giant log that morning. Like the last few days all just built up into one giant turd he can push out and then be
all fiber meals.
And then be basically clean after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The last night's meal is just energy and then everything else is coming out in one big fired off turd.
Okay.
So that's what he's doing. Because otherwise all he's got is a plastic bottle in the box. So
not good.
Hard to shit in a plastic bottle. That's not easy. So he sorts out all his luggage. He gets everything ready to go. He's got his backpack. He's got all this shit. He's got a towel rolled around a flashlight. He's got a flashlight in there. He searched secondhand bookshops for a thin book. He needed something that couldn't fit much, so a thin book that he could find interesting. He didn't have a lot of time, so the only thing he could find was The History of British Athletics Coaching, Triumph or Failure.
Okay.
That's the book. And it's a real small little book. And he's like, oh, this is going to suck. This is what I have to read. That sounds boring as shit. He also had the pee bottle as well, obviously. He's got the pee bottle. He's got a bottle of fruit juice. They're the same bottle, by the way.
Oh, God.
He should have used different bottles. You know what I mean? Soda bottle for pee, juice bottle for juice.
Don't mix them up, my friend.
Yeah, so that's interesting. He also said don't mix them up. He had 2 large, I guess, cans, because they say tins. I think it's a can over there. Yeah. 2 large cans of spaghetti bolognese. So he had like a couple of Chef Boyardees in there, a couple of beefaronis, basically.
Spaghetti bolognese in a can.
Yeah, he's got two beefaronis, a fruit juice, and a pea bottle is what he's going to work with.
Wow.
One of the cans has a can opener and a spoon rubber banded to it. So he's got that. There is a packet of cookies he's got, too.
Yeah.
A chocolate bar and 1 tube of fruit gums. So gummies.
Yeah. What are you going to do about tomorrow?
That's what he's got. That's all he can fit. That's his traveling gear, okay?
Oh, boy.
Now, he wanted to eat one of the spaghettis for breakfast. But his friends are like, what's wrong with you?
What are you, stupid?
You have brain damage? What is
yeah, that's all you've got,
man. I didn't know you get CTE doing javelin, because you must. Somebody hit you in the back of the head with a spear? What the fuck is happening? So he changed into his travel clothes, which is a T-shirt and track pants and like warm-up stuff, like, warm-up jacket and sneakers. Like comfy clothes, like he's going for a jog.
Like he's going on a plane.
He had a larger bag that had everything else that he came with, a pair of jeans, his tracksuit, shorts, 2 T-shirts, some underwear, socks, a suit, an actual suit and tie, dress shoes, and javelin boots.
A whole baggage.
He's got
luggage.
that. And table mats that he bought for his mom.
Oh.
Because it's got pictures of beef eaters at the Tower of London. So he wanted to give that to her. So he's got all that, of course, his passport as well that he's going to need once he gets there. So they said, let's go. We got to get over here. And, he's getting in there. He said, all right, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll do the checklist. Reg came out of the bathroom. He's like, mission accomplished there. That worked out well.
Launched it.
I know my system. I launched that javelin a record distance. They checked everything to make sure he had everything he would need on the plane. His bag, by the way, is strapped to the roof of the inside of the...
Brilliant.
Yeah, so it's like hanging above him. That's how they do that. So they finished sticking the labels on the outside that said fragile and this way up also, so they wouldn't flip him over. Nobody wants that.
And we trust them to do this.
Yep. Now, he's over 6 feet tall, and he's in a 5 foot length thing. So
so he's bent.
That's rough.
Always.
Yeah. He's got a decent ceiling, which is nice. He can lean up a little bit at least, but he can kind of lean back and sort of straighten his legs out a little bit. So he gets himself into the car. He gets himself into the box, I'm sorry. And he said he's getting into the box. He checked his watch at 3:17 p.m. on October 17th, 1964. He's getting in the box. So they said, all right, let's go. They gave him his backpack, and his friend said, you don't have to do this, you know. You can still change your mind. We'll call this a fun adventure. You know what I mean? And he said, I'm not backing out now. Jesus Christ, let's do this.
Paperwork's filled out. They're gonna be looking for the box.
And they said, seriously, man, his friend called it reckless. And Reg stopped him and he said, you know what they say, that every person's life should include one reckless moment. Nobody says that, by the way.
They say?
I've never heard anyone say that before.
Maybe in 64 they stopped saying it after this.
Yeah. Everyone should risk their lives for no reason at least once. Really, it's good for you. So they said, maybe if we do, or his friend was laughing. He said, well, if you do get caught, maybe we can sell the story and pay for the freight charges. And they're all laughing. And they said, tell us when you get back, please. Call us when you get there, if you do get there.
Yeah, don't leave this sitting on my conscience for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So they get him into the shipping bay. And just as they do, the clerk puts the close sign up.
Oh, God.
And they were like, oh, too late? His friends were happy. They were like, oh, good, we're not going to do this. And he said, no, you're the last. Let's go. Let's get you in here. So,
we got room for one more.
Shit. So his friend John filled out the forms and did all of that shit. They ordered, the clerk told the guys to lift the delivery onto the industrial scales. They did. All his three friends lifted this big box onto there. The clerk said this is the maximum size allowed because they knew that already from the paperwork. And, they were saying, here's your receipt. They said cash on delivery, so there's nothing to pay. And the guys were like, so John was like, we don't have to take it anywhere else. And they said, nope, we got it from here. We'll take the rest. Have a good one, everybody. It'll be in Australia before you know it.
At some point.
So here's his journey now. He's in the box.
Shit.
He's in the box in a cargo warehouse.
Wild.
Okay. The box sits on the scale for over an hour. It's sitting there. The clerk is doing paperwork. He can hear the clerk calling his wife, talking to her, talking about when they'll be home and all this sort of thing.
Big dumb box sitting here. I'm almost done.
These three fucking dipshits brought in this box, and I don't know.
The biggest thing that we allow. Can you believe it?
Can you believe
last
it?
one.
So they get 4 guys to come back and pick it up. And they do. So for the next hour and 35 minutes, they brought it all around the floor so they could get to they moved it around so they could reach smaller crates and packages that were stacked behind it. Eventually, it's placed onto an open truck and driven outside.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. It's like sliding back and forth around corners and shit back there, too. It's wild. So they get to the storage shed. They put it high up in the corner of the warehouse is where they put the box. Okay. So it's just him stacked way up. You've seen these big warehouses.
Yeah.
The big Picture Beverly Hills Cop 1 when they go in and all these shipping labels. That's what it is. Just big stacked crates high. They stick him in a corner up high in a box. So that's where he is up there.
Awesome.
So he's like, holy shit, this is crazy. So, and he knows where he is. He could feel himself going up and moving around and them saying, put it up there and all that kind of shit. He said that he can hear, what's going on out there. He's peeking out through he peels like a little piece of the paper back so he can see out of the cracks to see where the hell he is. His flight's delayed. So, Jimmie, your flights get delayed a lot.
I feel you, bud.
At least you're not in a 5x3 box while it's happening
Sitting
in the top of a warehouse. At least you're in the airport bar having more drinks. It's a lot better, probably. So his flight's been delayed. He has 13,000 miles to travel.
Oh, God.
And he said if he sat up, he could stretch his legs out, but if he was lying down, he couldn't do that at all. So it was he couldn't find a comfortable position to sleep, which you cannot find a comfortable position to sleep like that. You have to stretch at some point. So he then kind of pushed himself up against the back of the box and kind of sat up a little bit.
Yeah.
Tried to do one of those. He tried to get the strap because he's strapped in case he gets flipped over.
Right.
So he gets one strap off and his left arm is twisted in there. He's trying to, in the dark, he's trying to get a strap off of him. He's in a box. Imagine the claustrophobia for this. Holy shit.
Oh, I would lose my mind. I can't do it.
This is crazy.
I'm claustrophobic in an airplane.
Yeah, this is next level. Yeah, if I can't stand those little planes, like going from Cincinnati to somewhere, like if I can't stand up, I am uncomfortable the entire fucking time. If I have my whole head bent when I walk in, how you doing? Nope. So he straightened out all this that was dealing with his shoulder, and he's kind of trying to shift his weight around so he can get these aches and pains out of him. And he's a young athlete too, and this is still hurting him. I'm picturing our bodies, but imagine this guy. He's hurting. So he said that it was very still in the warehouse, and like every time he moved any little creak, he'd be like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Can people hear that?
Yeah, that's the other part. Like, why is this box making so much noise?
Yeah. So he tried to go to sleep. He's like, maybe I can sleep. Maybe if I just sleep through this, that's the best way to get through it. Like anybody flying. So he's still in the warehouse though. He said it's starting to get cold. Is the problem here. So he didn't feel like getting his jacket out of his backpack that was all strapped in. So he took the towel from his backpack that he had instead of his big bag. And he wrapped it around his shoulders. And he was like, okay, I can sit with my legs straight or lie down with my legs bent. So he's like, okay, what do I do here? So he starts to nod off finally, and then he gets a feeling. That feeling is, I have to piss. Shit. Okay. So he's got to piss, and he's like, fuck. So he looks around the backpack, making sure he's got the right bottle, so he doesn't piss in his juice. He tries to find a position where he can piss also. You know,
it's got to be on all fours.
All fours or on his side, I guess, with your dick kind of in it and it tilted. Even that's dangerous, though. So he's trying to figure out. He figures it out. He pisses in the bottle. After that, he ate 2 cookies.
Yeah.
Problem is, he said, shit, they made him thirsty, the cookies. Now he's like, fuck, now I'm thirsty. So he's only got 1 bottle of juice for 13,000 miles. So he takes a couple of small sips, just enough to wet the mouth, and shaped his backpack into a pillow and fell asleep up there.
Okay.
Okay. So now he's asleep at least. All right. He is awoken by people, jostling the box around and everything like that. He says there's a forklift coming at him. He's like, oh shit. He gets hit, like there's a big jolt to the box, and he hears somebody yell, slower, you're supposed to be picking it up, not knocking it over.
This is going to be 13,000 miles.
Oh, this is as it's pushed like sideways, like almost up on its side. Then he's like, oh God, Jesus, let this guy not be fucking as bad at this as he seems to be. So the box tilts up into midair. He hears people yelling. He feels that at one point the box is like it's dropped basically. Yeah. He said he felt his ass lift up off the ground, up off the box, and it landed on the flatbed truck. They basically dropped it on the truck. He heard the boss say, "Whatever's fragile in there won't be fragile anymore. It's going to be fucking broken." Yep. So he then felt the box being shoved by people, like pairs of like hands, into the plane's cargo hold. So someone said, let's get this big heavy one off to the side and keep it there so there's less work for the people at the other end. Put the smaller stuff up there so they don't have to move it first. So he said he felt himself getting pushed over. He said he's glad they didn't turn him upside down. That would have been terrible.
Yeah.
He hears baggage handlers going all, because this is where people's like luggage is and shit. Yeah. So when he's down there, he can hear the noise of the seatbelt light going on. He can hear like the of the announcements over the loudspeaker. He can hear that sort of shit. So he's thinking about like there's bathrooms up there. People are being served meals up there. Enjoying themselves, having drinks and shit, not having to piss in a bottle. So he said that he's he's, kind of drifting in and out of sleep and all this type of shit, trying to figure out what's going on. He says, okay, the plane starts moving again. It's 7:48 p.m., so at this point, he's been in the box for 28 hours and 31 minutes.
Oh, my God. And he just started moving.
And he's just taking off on the plane. The plane reached its cruising altitude. Mm-hmm. And at this point, he is cramped. He is fucking hungry. He knows it's a short flight to Paris. Yeah. Here, it's a very short one from London. So he knows if he's got to eat something, he's got to do it really fast. So he pops the locking dials, the locks on the lid, pops the lid off, and, get out of the way. The first one's, by the way, something's behind it. He can't get out of that one. So he has to go to the other one and gets out of that one. So he's lucky the guy put two entrances in there.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
So he hoped maybe some food would take his mind off all this shit. So he takes a couple of gulps of juice, and then he opens one of the Chef Boyardee, I suppose, opens up his beefaroni, and he's, kind of just mumbling like, all right, well, I'm here. I'm in the plane. I mean, I did this.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, he's sitting on top of the container now. Everything's great. Top of the world, Ma. So he's eating the spaghetti like it's trying to act like it's fun, eating the spaghetti. And then all of a sudden some turbulence comes.
Oh, shit.
And he starts jumping around. He eats about half the spaghetti, takes a couple more sips from the juice, and says, okay, now I got to really ration this shit. Now I got a good base. Got to ration it. He's still hungry, so rather than, be hungry, he starts looking around the freight area for shit to do, basically. Looking for shit that, just stuff. He just looking for things. What's in here? What's in there? Yeah. What's in this freight? Just to try to distract himself. He noticed a small crate that said it had 300 umbrellas in it. And he said, that can't be right. You can't fit 300 umbrellas in here. That was his main concern. So he thought about the logistics
challenge
of how would you fit 300 umbrellas in there. And that some time went by that way. He said that he found a few boxes that were going all the way to Perth. So he was like, neat, we'll all be together. That's great.
Me and you, boys.
So then he realized that the plane is descending to land. So he has to get him way back into his, little crate there. He gets back into his box and bundles himself in. Gets himself all in there. He's got the half-eaten can of spaghetti with the spoon keeping out, and he's sticking out. He gets that. He closes the lid, and he gets in the box, and here comes the plane lands, and he's like, all right, this is pretty good. He goes, we're landing. Yeah. I'm good. So he lands, and then he said, shit. Once he lands, he goes, I left something sitting on one of the containers. Not his container, the other one here. He's like, fuck. You know what it was? It's his piss bottle.
Oh, no.
He left his piss bottle up there. So he's like, fuck, this isn't good.
He's got to go get it.
He locked himself. He couldn't. People were starting to come. He didn't have time.
Oh, no.
So he locked himself in, and he's like, let's just hope they don't notice it, or they just think one of the guys on the other side left it and by accident or something. He hears heavy machinery and, all sorts of shit. They're fueling the engine. There's things driving around the runways. He's like, oh, my God, this is fucking crazy. This is wild. He said about this whole thing, he said, quote, I got out of the box between London and Paris dying for a leak. I peed in a can and put it on top of the box. He says, I was stretching my legs, and all of a sudden, because it's a short distance, the plane began to descend. A little panicky, I jumped back in the box, and the can of pee was sitting on top. The French baggage handlers thought that it had been left as a joke by the London people, like the London airport people.
Pisses, yeah.
Reg said they were saying some terrible things about the English, but they didn't even think of the box, so I just kept on going. So the plane, is going again, takes off, and he found his plastic pee bottle there. He was like, okay, I found that. So when he's flying to Bombay now, he says, should I get out of the box? Maybe I should. He said, maybe I should stay in for a while so I have something to look forward to. I'll stay in here for a couple hours. Then when I get out, it'll feel really good to get out. That'll be better.
Yeah.
He ate 4 squares of a chocolate bar and found the fruit gummies and a flashlight and tried to find a comfortable position to read the book on British athletic coaching.
As
he
he's
had a flashlight.
From France to Bombay.
Yep. So he's doing that. He said he liked reading. Reading's fine. He said, I bet that guy that my wife's fucking read a lot of books. He's a lawyer. I bet he's going to know all sorts of shit from books. So he got mad at that, and then he pops the lid off. He gets out, gets his pee bottle. Now he doesn't know what to do. He said, I need a something fast here. I need a portable toilet fast. He said that he wasn't prepared to drink all his juice just so he could piss in the bottle, and he said there was only one option, and that was to eat the spaghetti in the can and use the can.
Okay.
So to finish off his spaghetti. So he ate the spaghetti, and he didn't want it even at that point, so just shoveling it in. So he said everything he's got to piss. So what he does is he chews the pasta and does all that, pisses in there. What he's going to do, though, is pretty interesting, what he's going to do to piss here. He said as he was eating the spaghetti, he was thinking about T-bone steaks and things like that to get him better here. So what he ended up doing is taking the cellophane from, this is crazy, that was wrapped on the placemats he got for his mother.
Right.
Taking the cellophane, lining the can in cellophane, pissing into the can, and then tying it up like a little water balloon.
And leaving the cellophane piss bag.
And having a cellophane piss bag, but at least it's all contained at that point.
Yeah.
He said it looked kind of nice, too. It was cute. It looked like a little, like you were giving somebody Christmas chocolates or something in a little wrapper. It was very nice.
But now you've got loose table mats.
Yeah, that's fine. It's better than loose piss, I guess, all over you.
Yeah, good point.
So in India, he lands, and he said as soon as he gets off, they pull him off the plane in India, okay? And he said it was just light and heat and heavy air and humidity. He's like, Bombay. I'm in Bombay.
Shit weather.
This is rough. He could see his straps, and he stuffed his backpack behind his back, and he grips the can of urine between his thighs before securing his waist with his arms here. He said within seconds they're, pushing the container all around. He starts to slide in the direction of the door. He thought he was going to be loaded onto another aircraft. The forklifts are going by, all this type of shit. And he didn't know what he was doing. And he ends up sitting there for an hour. So then he hears machinery coming, prepares to be moved again. And he said that they laughed and cursed as the bottom of, he heard the workers like laughing out there and shit. As the bottom of his box scraped along the edge of the doorway, he said he was scooped out of the belly of the plane and pulled up by a big hoist, basically, here. He said he was like smelling everything and hearing everything. He said he hits the ground with a jolt, and then he hears, voices and all this type of shit. I guess that his crate, basically, they pick his crate back up, and it's because I guess they landed it on another box, and so they pick his crate back up. Yeah. But the way they pick the crate back up, they do it too haphazardly, and rather than picking it up horizontally, it's now vertical.
Oh, God.
So now Reg is in a vertical box.
Yeah.
Holding his straps, trying to, keep him from ripping into his body here. He's like, holy shit. Oh, my God. This is bad. This is bad. He's basically, and by the way, he's upside down. The box is the wrong way. So he's vertical with his head down.
Oh, no. Feet
Not
up.
good. Yeah. And he's trying to tighten his grip on the piss between his legs. He's got that sitting there.
Yeah.
So he didn't know what to do. He lets go of his arm straps, grabs the can with both hands, and he's got the straps looped on his elbows. He's really trying to do all this shit, right? So he's like, Jesus Christ, why the fuck are these people? Why are they doing this to me, basically? Yeah. Don't they know there's a person in here? So he rested. Oh, my God, it's fucking ridiculous. So his bag fell on his head. All this crazy shit happens. They end up getting him flat again, luckily, here. So he's watching out. He's looking at everything. It was 4:52 a.m. in England. He said he's been in here for 37 hours now.
Jesus, God.
So he's like, he doesn't know where he's being taken all around these warehouses. He's kind of being moved around. He said it was really fucking hot. It was just swelteringly hot. And inside of a box, it's even hotter. He can just hear voices kind of coming in and going away. At one point, he knows the workers are sitting there eating lunch. He can smell curry, and he can hear people talking. He says he starts to sweat so bad that he starts to take his clothes off. He's going to get naked. That's the only thing he can do. So he's trying to take his clothes off in there, which would be very difficult to do. And he said he was super pissed off because the workers sat on his box during their lunch break. He heard a creaking while he was taking his underwear off.
Fox.
He's like, hey, you son of a bitch. So he's like, bastards. So this is fucking ridiculous. So
it says fragile. Jesus, guys.
Yeah. He's like, this sucks. He said, quote, it was hot as hell in Bombay, so I took all my clothes off. Wouldn't it have been funny if I got pinched then? That would have been hilarious. He said, they had this thing on its end. I was on the tarmac while they were changing me from one plane to another. I'm strapped in, but my feet are up in the air. I'm sweating like a pig, but not to give up. Wait, be patient. And eventually they came and got me and put me on another plane, is what he said. So, holy shit. He is, they take him across the runway. It starts to rain. And he's like, oh, this is great. He loved it because he could feel the drops coming through, and he was like drinking them. He thought it was great. So he's like, this is terrific. So they take off from Bombay, and they land in Singapore now. Mm-hmm. So now he's in Singapore. Holy shit. So he is, stressed out at this point. Imagine how you feel.
2 days into this now.
Yeah, 2 days into this. He's really fucking stressed out. He sits there in Singapore for a while. He can hear them doing their things out there. Now he's getting used to it, but he's getting really impatient. Really impatient here. They take off from Singapore onto Perth, and he's dozing off. He said he's almost dozing off on the flight with the lid open and his lower legs poking outside. So he's like, yeah, it's all good, but he's like, Jesus Christ, what if I land? Yeah. And fall asleep.
Right.
I can't fall asleep.
Find me. Right.
He ran out of juice a long time ago, so he's really thirsty. And he doesn't drink his pee, by the way. He's very thirsty. Good. And he's starting to believe he can do it, though, but he's also starting to lose his mind. He said he's starting to get like panicky and shit like that. As the aircraft, by the way, Singapore, when he was landing, they had to do it was a really rough landing to where type of landing where the whole plane claps at the end.
Oh,
one of those
shit.
scary ones. He had to do that in a box. Think about that.
No clapping from him.
No clapping from him, no. So he said this time it starts shaking as they go into Perth, but he didn't even give a shit anymore. He's like, I don't care.
Kill it. Kill us all.
Kill us, get us there. Plunge me into the ocean. I don't give a shit.
Confuse the wreckage investigators terribly.
They'll have no idea. Why is there an extra body? So he looks at his watch. It's been 63 hours. 63 hours.
What's 3 days? 72? Jesus, fuck.
Holy shit. And now he's got his hardest thing in front of him. Getting on the plane in the box was the easy part.
Right.
Anybody can do that.
You got to get the fuck out of there.
Now he's got to figure it out. What the fuck is he going to do? How's he going to get out of the airport? How's he going to get out into the airport, out of the shit? So he's like, I don't know what to do. So he was hoping he gets out. This is crazy. What he ends up doing is he hears them unloading him and everything, and then he hears somebody say that that it's lunchtime. So he's like, okay. They get off for lunch. They leave the warehouse, and he's like, okay, awesome. I can get out of here now. He says, perfect. So he listens to them all file out. He hears the squeak of the door close. It's a big metal warehouse. And he said, okay, fine. He pops his latches from the end. He's like, oh shit, that was the lid falls off and crashes on the floor. He's like, oh shit.
Fuck. Yeah.
Anybody hear that? Nobody heard it. So he takes his bag from the strapping of the roof of it, and he's like, okay, this is it. I can do this. He's crawling around between the boxes because he doesn't know if anybody's in there or not. He doesn't know what to do. His legs feel weak because they've been cramped for 3 straight days. He's probably got blood clots, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
He's lucky he's in such good shape, or he would. So he leans on the end of a box, and he's looking around. He's trying to figure out what's going on. He finds a door, and he goes to open it, but it's got a metal chain padlocked on the outside.
What the fuck?
Fuck. He closes
That's
the door.
How they secure this place?
Yeah, from the outside. So he's like, shit. He closes the door, releases the handle. He's looking all around, trying to find a way to get out of here. He's like, how can I bust this chain? So he's looking all around. He spots a huge shelf and a long workbench covered with tools at the end. He gets he finds like a bolt cutter, basically. There's all this type of shit. He finds bolt cutters. Beautiful. Grabs them, spends them, goes back down the aisle, opens the door. He's trying to get it. Finally, he's like having a hard time. It's an old rusty chain and lock, but he's having a hard time. He drops the bolt cutters at one point. They make a loud slam against the tin shed, make a loud noise. Finally,
Leo in Titanic.
Yeah, that's exactly. Finally, he pops them. He breaks the chain with the bolt cutters, which, again, super loud. Sounds like a gunshot going off that.
It's
so
a big snap, yeah.
He's like, shit. So he stops there. Oh, God, what do I do? So he's sitting there waiting. Nobody's coming. Nobody heard it. Or there's a lot of loud noises outside of an airport, I guess. So he looks around. He sees that there's sheds near him, a shed that less than 100 yards away. He can try to take cover in there because he's looking around. He's like, warehouse shed, warehouse thing. He's like, I don't want to end up in another warehouse. That's where I just got out of. So he takes off across the open ground for the shed. He's got about 100 yards to make up. He's like, every sound is magnified and everything. He wanted to run, but he's like, look calm. Don't look back. Just look like you have somewhere to be. Power walk style. He does this. He ends up going around, getting into this shed, and then he sits there for a minute. Okay, I'm in the shed. All right, good deal. This is good. I can do this. So he looks around, pokes his head out of the shed, looks around. He's like, okay, there's a bunch of warehouse things, a bunch more warehouse things. He goes, that's where planes are kept. That's this, that's that. That's where they exit the plane and go to the terminal. Okay. He goes, if I can get a jet just landed, when those fucking people start coming off, if I can sneak my way over to there and just blend, I can do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got luggage.
I could do that. Oh, he changed in the shed too because he tore his pants and stuff. So now he put a suit on. Okay. So now he's got a suit on. So he's like, I got a suit. I got luggage. I'm just going to blend in.
Yeah.
So he ends up, he's doing this. He's waiting. And he ends up just kind of striding into the line in a confident way. And he was like, fuck, let's do this. Walks in. He gets up to, he goes up with the group. There's a customs checkpoint there. Threw his bag down, grabbed his passport, and he's like, maybe I should run right now is what he thought. He didn't know what to do, but he took his passport, held it up, and they just said, yep, welcome home. There you go. Have fun. Have a nice day. He walked into the airport and was like, holy shit.
I did it.
So he gets out and just starts walking down the road.
Yeah.
Walking. Like at one point there was a cop car with its sirens on coming, and he dove into some bushes off to the side and laid there for a while because he didn't know if they were coming for him.
Yeah.
Like this is like it's the great international caper here. So he ends up finding a freeway and all this shit and ends up finding a truck stop.
Okay.
Comes upon a truck stop here, and he's like, oh man, walks in. He goes for the toilets, obviously. He's going for the bathroom. He goes into the to the stall, and all this type of shit, takes his dump. People tried to rush him too, and he's like, "Oh man, can I have a shit in peace?" You know, he yelled at them, and they're like, "All right, fine." So he washes himself off a little bit at the sink. He shaves, Jimmy.
What?
He shaves with a razor in the sink because his wife can't see him with 3 days of stubble. Holy shit! So he does some dirty soap he uses to do this with. He had sold his razor back in England to make money for. I forgot to mention that, to make money for the box. He had an electric razor that he sold, and he's like, "Man, I wish I had that." So he thought about it, and he's like, "I did it. I fucking did it." He goes, "I'm going to the cafeteria. I'm fucking gonna spend my last $5 on some last £5 on some food,
some Australian food,
some proper food, and I'm in." So what happened here was McSorley didn't hear from him right away, his friend John, who built the box. So he alerted the media as to what happened so he could hear what happened, right?
Yeah.
So this became an international sensation as far as like a crazy story. It's fucking wild. John even said, I got a telegram from a renowned Australian politician, and it said, a gallant effort by a real Aussie, and here's £5. I'm winning big time. It was great. That's what the guy said, John. Yeah. He's like, this is great. The guy sent me $5 because I did well. In the end, the airline didn't make him pay the shipping fees once everybody found out about it.
Really?
Yeah, he said he didn't expect this kind of coverage once anybody found out. He said, quote, I've never seen anything like it. It scared the hell out of my mother with the whole street blocked with media, and it would go on for weeks. It was pretty wild. If you look up his name, that's the first 20 articles are the man who shipped himself from England to Australia. That's all it is.
4 days in a pine box.
In a box.
I didn't know they put you in that. I thought because FedEx has its own fucking planes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's if you FedEx. This is if you go down to the airport and ship with the airport. It's a different thing.
They just put you on whatever fucking
freight.
airline. Yeah,
you can just do freight. Yeah. He said that he made it back for his daughter's birthday, but his wife didn't believe him. He said, quote, she didn't believe me. But then she thought about it, and she thought he must have done it, or else how else would he have gotten here? She eventually rode with it. Holy shit. By the way, they say that this could never happen now. Airline people say it could never happen now because the hold is usually pressurized and the temperature would be above freezing, but all the cargo on planes now gets screened for security reasons, so they would find a human being in there.
Yeah, X-ray.
So, yeah. But they could have sent, back then you could have sent a corpse over there with nobody knowing. Think about it. You could kill someone, stuff them in a box, send them overseas, COD to an imaginary person. There you go. Done.
It is.
How'd you get rid of the body? Where's the body? India.
Fucking Bombay.
So customs agents then were like, this can't be true. So they went into the warehouse to look for the fucking box. So they look around, and sure enough, they said, I'll be a son of a bitch. There's the box. Holy shit. They were like, look at this shit.
There's piss in it and everything.
They got pissed. That's what they said. There's tins of, they said they found moldy bolognese in there.
Yeah.
They found
a while.
like half a chocolate bar or whatever he left in there. So he's back in Australia. He ends up continuing his javelin throwing. 66-67 at the Australian track and field something, I guess. I don't know. Right. The Nationals. He comes in first.
Really?
With it looks like a career best 73.77 meter toss here.
And he wouldn't even qualify today.
God, no. Jesus, not even in high school, probably. 67-68, he comes in third but then it was 74.45, so it was better than his first place one the year before. He improved, but not enough. Then 69-70, he is third again. And then 74-75, he's in third place again. So 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
76, well, not 3 years, but 3 competitions because he waited a while in between them. 76-77, he comes in first place again with a 73.68. So that's a 10-year gap between being champion of that. It's pretty interesting here. 77-78, he comes in second. And then 78-79, he comes in third, and he's down to 65.66 meters.
Oh, shit.
Because he's 39, 40 years old at this point.
It's falling apart.
Yeah, your body is, it's rough here. And then in 80-81, he'll end up trying out for that too, or competing there, and he'll be third as well there. So not going well. Now, 1980 comes along.
Mm-hmm.
He's hanging out. He's back in Australia. His wife has long, I'm sure, gotten tired of his craziness.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Long since left him, I'm sure. So now he's got a new girlfriend named Annie. Mm-hmm. And he's got some friends as well. He's got some friends named Cheryl, Ted, Nico, Laura. He's got all these friends, right? He's got kind of a couples. Well, two are Nico and Laura are sisters.
Okay.
Cheryl and Ted are a couple.
Okay.
And he and Annie are a couple. So that's how Laura has another relationship. She has a fiance she lives with, some guy. So either way, he met Annie at some college course he was taking. And she's a redhead, and he loves her and thinks she's all hot and shit. So there you go.
Okay.
So they're all excited. Cheryl, one of his friends, is very excited this one morning because she gets to quit her job.
Oh?
Yep, she gets to quit her job. She thinks it's awesome. She's going to be able to quit her job because they have a big score lined up. Reg has a plan here.
Oh.
Okay. So Cheryl and Ted are a couple. They've been in Adelaide for about 6 years. He dropped out of college, and she was a teacher at the local elementary school. And there you go. They lived there, hung out with Reg and Annie and all of them. Nico, his younger sister, is Laura. And they grew up on the same street as Reg. That's how they know Reg. They know Reg from way back. So apparently, Reg had protected them from bullies when they were little.
What a guy.
Apparently, bullies would call them wigs, which I don't know what that means.
That's probably
You know hair having motherfucker. Look at you. It's not your hair. It's not. You liar. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. It's probably racist.
Who knows? I don't know. What are they? I think they're white. What's it racist for?
Oh, I don't know.
Nico might be Greek. I don't know. If that's
I don't know what wig means. I don't
know either.
That's why it feels weird to say it out loud, because it feels like we may get in trouble for that.
We don't live there. What the hell do we know?
Right. You want to Google it?
No, who cares? There's not enough people in Australia for this to matter over here and then the rest of the world. I'm sorry. Just doesn't.
Whatever it is, it's an insult with their fucking accent. It's a bad word.
Yeah. So apparently they are Greek, by the way, because Nico and Laura, because their parents own a restaurant, and it's like a Greek restaurant. Yeah. And they work.
They call them that. They're talking about their shoulders.
Probably, yeah. You got wigs on your shoulders. So they're apparently they work there, Nico and Laura, at the restaurant. They bring home lots of good Greek food. So Reg is sitting here with all of his friends around, and he's got his notebook out and a beer in his hand.
Oh, that's the best times.
And he's like, listen, we have got to talk about some shit here. He's like, I need to know who's in and who's out.
Okay.
Who's in and who's out? And he's like, we need everybody in here, so if anybody's out, we need to find somebody. That we need to have all these couples set up here. So they've been talking about his plan, and now he wants to cement his plan. Everybody needs a big score. Everybody needs money for something in this group. So it's like one of these caper movies where, you know, one of those here.
Everybody's spending their portion on something different.
The chick who's good with security systems, dad has cancer, so that's why she's doing it, and this one's doing it because he needs to get out of here. And yeah,
we all have good hearts about what we're spending the money on.
It's all Dog Day afternoon. So Reg, he's got it all. He's got it all set up. Reg has done a lot of traveling, and he has figured out a way around some things and to get some easy money here. Reg says these are the people he trusts the most, and he can do it. He said that also Nico and Laura are like waiting tables with the family restaurant. Laura's got a fiance. This would be good for her. She needs some cash to go into her marriage with, and all this type of shit. Yeah. So everything's going well. We'll talk about what the plan is here. So look around, and Reg says, just confirming everything for next month. My contact says it's better to travel in mixed pairs, and I can see why. Looks like a couple on a nice romantic trip. Man, woman going away. So the routine is number one couple board in Bombay. Okay? That's what he said. He says the first time will probably be a bit hairy, but we'll soon have it down pat. The riskiest bit is the last lap into Australia. So first trip, it'll be me and Annie doing the home stretch. Okay? This is what we'll get into all of this type of shit here. So there'll be 3 legs between Bombay and Australia, he says. Bombay, Australia, New Zealand, and then New Zealand, and then back to Australia. And Cheryl said, hold on, what's going on here? And he said, listen to me, this is how it goes. He goes, nothing's foolproof. He goes, but don't get complacent. We'll get all fucked out over this, so don't do it. He says, okay, number one couple disembark in Melbourne or Sydney. They leave a boom box, okay, so a radio, in the overhead locker of the place. Okay. No risk there, nothing for customs to find. Then number 2 couple board the same plane, now bound for New Zealand. Leave it in the overhead, now bound for New Zealand. They have the same seat numbers as the first couple. When they land, they take the hand luggage from the locker. They now have to go through security, but here's the thing. He said, as far as the Kiwis are concerned, it's a flight from Oz. So number 2, hand over to the third couple at the airport. They do the last leg home, and the Aussie customs bloke won't be looking for anything because it's a flight from New Zealand.
Right.
So he's basically laundering himself. That's how they're doing it. So
you leave the boombox on the plane from Bombay.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's just a boombox that's going back and forth between New Zealand and Australia.
Exactly. That way, yeah, when it's in Australia, then goes to New Zealand, it'll never go through customs because it's up in the plane, goes to New Zealand, you take it off in New Zealand, get on a different plane, and they don't check customs in Australia because you're coming from New Zealand. It's you're laundering it, basically.
Yep.
You're laundering what you have there, and what you have there is going to be cocaine and shitloads of hash. So hash and coke is what they're doing here. So that's the plan here. That's the way it works. So
you're telling me that then he's doing this with like some crazy regulations, loose-ass regulations on planes back in the day.
Very loose.
Because they clear that motherfucker today.
No, they absolutely clear. Yeah, then they didn't at all, though. So they said, and at that point, they get here, and that's that. So they were like, wow, holy shit, this isn't fucking bad.
Genius plan, yeah.
Yeah, they said, so what's the thingy going to weigh? Do you mean something like Ted's boombox? And Reg said, they said bigger, right? And Reg said, yeah, it's got to be bigger. He said, we're talking resin here, not grass. It's like a hash, like a concentrate. Okay, yeah. So it's compressed. It'll be bloody heavy, but we'll need a good bit, at least 7 kilos, plus the weight of the machine once the guts are taken out. So they were like, okay, this is interesting. Said, we don't have to buy one of those blasters every time we do a run. And they said, no, we don't. We'll just recycle it.
Same one.
Yeah, we'll just recycle it. It'll be a lot easier that way. So he says, think of yourselves as shift workers. You're taking this shift, you're taking that shift. He's very desperate for money is the thing here, because his advertising, he was getting like sponsors and stuff. He's the javelin guy that shipped himself. So people know who he is.
Oh my God, that would play so great on shipping commercials or getting anything anywhere fast, any delivery.
Yep, any delivery of anything.
Oh my God, between throwing a javelin and shipping himself, it gets there fast.
It will get there at the speed of a spear through the air. So he had placed third in the National Javelin Championships in 1979, and it had been 14 years since he's been the Australian champion.
Oh boy.
So he's starting to get less stuff. At first, he used to get magazine covers and television, radios and shit. Now, he doesn't really get anything anymore. He's not getting commercials. He's having a hard time making ends meet. He doesn't want to go back to being a salesman. That sucks. So he's like, I don't know what to do. So within a few weeks, they finished their first run, and everything worked out really well. Reg and Annie escorted the drugs on the last flight into Australia. Boom, done. So pretty easy. They said, not bad. Pair number one would be given instructions for a different collection point in Bombay. This would usually be a room number in a hotel, and the only the men would collect the neatly wrapped 1 kilo slabs of hash, and then they would, that was it. They'd exchange money for bag. They'd get back on the plane. Done and done and done. Very coordinated, very nicely, because you have to have the tickets in the same seats, and it's a pretty interesting thing here. So they said that Cheryl at one point, one of the people said, you'd think the cabin crew would check the lockers when people left the plane. They mean the overhead bins. Yeah. You think they would do that? And they said, think about it. They check them, make sure they're closed before takeoff, but afterwards, they don't give a shit if you've left anything behind.
They don't give a fuck.
Don't care. Fuck you. That's your problem. So, they said that the New Zealand detour was the perfect, laundering situation. They never checked anything. Everything worked out. It's running smoothly. Everybody's making money. Things are going well. People are buying themselves shit. Bills are paid. Nico puts down a deposit on a new car.
Wow.
They're doing all that kind of thing. Annie's buying Chanel perfume, and Reg has a new watch. They're all doing great. Everything's going wonderful.
Yeah.
Problem is, the only person, everybody is like Reg and his fiance are involved in this. Ted and Cheryl are a married couple. Yeah. They're involved in this. Nico and Laura are brother and sister. They're involved in this. Nico doesn't have any like significant other. Laura has a fiance who knows nothing about this.
Okay.
Her fiance does not know why she goes away for a few days now and then.
No clue.
No clue. Doesn't know she has to hide the money from him because he would be like, where the fuck did you get this money from? So she has to hide all this money all the time. So, it's crazy for her. And they're talking about, she's saying she's really nervous because she says that she's worried that her fiance, Jeff, is going to find out. Mm-hmm. And, she said, I'm finding harder. She meets with Reg in a cafe and they talk about it. Yeah. And she says, I'm finding it's getting harder and harder to find reasons to give Jeff for me being away for 4 days at a time. I don't think he's going to buy it the next time I go.
You didn't come up with an evergreen fucking solution for this?
They had
the
nothing.
Same thing can't be?
No, they have nothing. Yeah, I have a new thing I have to do. She's like a waitress at her parents' restaurant. What, she have to go away for business?
I love curry, and it has to be fresh.
My parents need me to go inspect these spices we're importing. Like they don't want to get them here and then have them be bullshit.
We get the best chicken bouillon. I can't.
Totally.
I have to go get it.
Yeah. So he says, listen, if you need to back out for a while, I'll find somebody else for, Nico can go at it alone or we can find somebody else for him or whatever. But, don't fuck yourself up. He's like, it's going to be all good. It's fine. So they left the cafe, gave her a kiss on the cheek or whatever. And, she went into a bakery. He gets into his car, turns it on, and he looks in the rearview mirror, and he can see a guy standing in front of a laundromat close by, and it is Laura's fiance, Jeff.
Oh, shit.
Jeff Devlin, and he's been watching them, basically.
Yeah.
Because Jeff had suspected that Laura was cheating on him because she disappears for days at a time and does all sorts of shit.
And this man just kissed her.
Yep. Meanwhile, nothing. No. It's a platonic relationship. It's based on crime, not sex. No, you don't understand. We're a crime syndicate. We're not fucking. It's a totally different thing.
What are you, a lawyer? You're probably fucking her.
Yeah, come on. I know these lawyers. So he said Jeff was thinking when she first moved in, she would never go out alone except for doing her work or shopping or shit like that. Now she's gone for days at a time. She's never home.
Oh, God.
He said this bullshit. She had said that she was spending nights with a friend to help look after her friend's sick mother. Yeah. He's like, I'm not buying that shit now.
She picked that?
That's what she picked. That's her. I have to go do that every once in a while. She'll be sick forever, by the way. So, yeah, this isn't good. So Jeff, the fiance, gets back to his apartment. He's super pissed off. He thinks I caught her cheating on me finally. That's what he thinks. I've supported her. I fucking pay the bills. I do all this shit. I'm nice to her. This is my apartment, for Christ's sake. She moved into here, and now she's going to fuck around.
The woman. Yeah.
Fuck her. Gets out a big suitcase, starts packing all her shit in the suitcase. Fucking bitch throwing in her clothes. You fucking asshole. Oh, yeah, take that. Oh, it's yours. Great. You have it. I don't want anything of yours in my goddamn house. As he's doing this, he's throwing in things, and there's all sorts of shit, and he picks up a little book. It's a little book with butterflies on it and a lock on it. A little notebook, like a diary.
Oh, no.
He goes, what the fuck is this? So he wrestles the lock open, and he gets the diary open. And he's looking at it, and first few months were blank. Then there was pages where Laura had written number 1, 2, 3, or just me on them, okay? Some days had Reg and Annie. Others had Nico and me or Ted and Cheryl next to the numbers. So she's got a code of who's doing what, who's couple number 1, who's couple number 2, and who's couple number 3. That's how they do it. So at first, Jeff said maybe this is like a tally, like a card game or something. Maybe they were playing Yahtzee. I don't fucking know. And they're the winners
Keeping score. Yeah,
because it's just their names, like teams next to, and her team is with her brother. So it's not like, oh, I'm fucking Reg, and so she's like, maybe that's what it is. Then he found a bunch of names, addresses, and room numbers of hotels with Indian-sounding names.
He's like, wife is a prostitute
in India. Yeah. Weird. A Bombay prostitute. That's weird because we live in Adelaide, South Australia. So he said every page had flight details for routes between Bombay, New Zealand, and Australia, and even seat numbers. He's like, what does this mean? What is this? He didn't know if she's crazy, if she's an international terrorist, if she's fucking around. He had no idea what the hell's going on with this lady now at this point. What does this mean? Then he said he found a little note scrawled across the bottom of a page, and it said, nearly forgot to leave the bag, is what it said. So he was like, what the fuck? Then he started to figure it out. Laura and her dipshit brother and a bunch of other dipshits that they're hanging out with are into some sort of smuggling operation from Bombay. This isn't difficult to figure out. They've kept me in the dark because he thinks because she's having an affair with Reg. So that's why she's not telling me. Meanwhile, she's just not telling him anyway.
Because he's going to snitch.
Yeah. She's like, and also, now that she's fucking him, who else is she fucking? Indians? She in Bombay, banging her way through Bombay? Is that the porn she's in now?
She didn't tell you because she can't trust you. She obviously can't trust you because you're doing this shit.
Because you're looking through her shit while he's kicking her out at the time. Right. So he's like, they're probably all so fucking stoned. They didn't even know what they were doing. She's probably fucking all sorts of people. This is ridiculous. God damn it. He's super mad. So he takes all of her shit and he throws it out in front of like on the stoop there in front of his apartment. He's sitting there. He keeps the diary in his hand, though, and begins to walk down the street with it. He arrives at the police station with this diary. He knows one of the officers at the reception desk, and he said that he, walked in and he talked, and his uncle's a cop, too. So he said hello to the one cop, walked in, talked to his uncle, and his uncle said, hey, what are you doing here? What's going on, buddy? And Jeff said, nothing good, I'm afraid. I'm afraid right now. And the guy said, it's not your mom. Is your mom okay? And he says, no. He goes, look, I've got a little bit of a dilemma. And he showed him the diary. And he says, Jeff says to him, this doesn't sit well, but I have no choice. You got to take a look at this. And he shows it to him. And the uncle says, it's obvious to me what this is, and it's pretty serious. Whose is it and where'd you get it?
Yeah.
And he said, it's Laura's. And the uncle said, your girlfriend, Laura? You don't mean her. And he said, yeah, I found it today when I was cleaning the apartment. And the sergeant was like, holy shit, are you kidding me?
Lying son of a bitch.
Your sweet little girlfriend's a smuggler? What's up with that? So the uncle says, you did the right thing. Looks like this has been going on a while. We'll bust these people, right? So one night back at the clubhouse, Reg and Annie's house there.
Yeah.
They're all hanging out, smoking fucking fat hash joints and shit, listening to Play That Funky Music, White Boy. Smoking hash joints, right?
Yeah.
Big banging on the door. Huge banging on the door. Everyone's like, oh, shit, right? What do we do here? So, fuck. So Reggie says, dump everything. So Cheryl grabs the tray with the hash from Nico, empties it into another bag that's got some other shit in it. Annie says, I'll grab the bedrooms. She gets the bag out of Cheryl's hands, goes up the stairs. She scrambles through. She gets weed up from up there, bags of weed, stuffs them in this bag, goes to Nico's room, grabs a pipe he has, shoves it under a pile of shoes. She didn't know what to do. She's like, do I flush this down the toilet? How do I get rid of this?
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
At that point, they hear it's the police. If you don't open the door, we're going to knock it down. So what do? So Annie takes the bag and shoves it in the front of her pants like Karen in Goodfellas with the gun when it's there.
Yeah.
I'll just shove it in my underwear. They'll never see it.
A giant fupa now.
That's it. So she scrunched in there. She pushed it in there. She runs downstairs. Reg opens the door and says, "Evening, gentlemen. How can I help you?" Hey, how's it going? Cops burst in there and they say, don't touch anything. We have a warrant. Get the fuck out of the way. They escort Annie and Reg to the living room. Annie's trying to hold in her stomach, make it look like she doesn't have a bag full of drugs there. So she's trying to avoid looking awkward. She didn't know what to do. Then out of nowhere, they're sitting there trying to think of what to do. How the fuck do we get it's on her? They're going to search her eventually. What do? They look and see the door's wide open. And Reg says out of nowhere, "For Christ's sake, who let the bloody cat out?" And the officers look around. They're like, well, I don't know. And he says, "We're not talking about any old cat here. This is a purebred pedigree, a Taiwanese blue, and it cost me a lot of money.
I got to go find it. Everybody, let's go. You cops stay here."
So Nico turns and goes, "No, not Bluey." "What? Bluey?" And everyone's like, "Bluey, oh no, Bluey." So Reg gets up and and they're like, "Sit down." He's like, "I'm finding my fucking cat. Bluey, Bluey." And they're looking around the apartment. "Bluey, where's Bluey?" They're looking around. The officers just join in the search for the cat. They stop what they're doing and they start looking for the fucking cat. So they're like, Jesus Christ, the animal's valuable. They didn't think they wanted to get blamed for it and get in trouble with. So they were like, we got to find their fucking stupid cat now. So basically, they're like, everyone in the house, the perpetrators, they're looking in the house while the cops go outside to look for the cat. So they do that. At that point, Annie looks at Annie and he goes, get rid of that shit now.
Get rid of that bluey.
Get rid of that bluey. So as soon as the last officer steps out the front door, Annie runs through the kitchen out the back door, speeds down, fucking runs down a sidewalk, gets out of the gate, runs down a dark alley, basically pulls the bag out of her waistband, stuffs it behind like an old washing machine that's like in an alley somewhere, gets back to the kitchen. By the time she gets back to the kitchen, all out of breath, the cops are still outside looking for the cat. So that is fucking wild. They're all laughing.
Bluey that does not exist.
Yeah, they're laughing their asses off as they're watching like the cops literally with flashlights looking through bushes for nothing. So finally the cops gave up looking and they lined up everybody in the house and searched them, and everybody tried to look all nervous, even though they didn't have anything. So they frisked everybody. Everything is fine, and that's it. They don't find anything there. They leave. They say, "Sorry about the cat, sir." And Reg acts all angry, and he goes, "Yeah, me too. Thanks.
You should be."
Fucking jerks. So then they watch them.
That cat.
They watch them drive away, and they go, "Jesus Christ! If that's the state of the police force in Australia,
we're never getting caught.
We need help. This is terrible. Wow, they're fucking off." So then they say, "But they'll be watching us now." Nico says, "We probably need, let's not make any more runs." And Reg says, "No, they're not watching us. Get the hell out of here. This isn't the feds. It's just the local cops, and they're just." Breaking balls. Somebody probably smelled the hash or something.
They're going to be out looking for that cat till the end of time now.
Yeah, they're still looking for the cat. They're going to sell it for something. They go, they're just looking for a little bit of grass and, slap on the wrist kind of stuff. They don't know what the fuck's going on with smuggling. And they were like, "Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah, that makes sense. Why would we be on their radar?" Right. So they go, "Hey, no problem." Next up, Reg and Annie leave. They get some contraband, some hash in Bombay. They complete the first leg. The other four left the house. Later that day, Ted and Cheryl boarded a flight in Melbourne and found their seat numbers in row 14. Ted put his coat in the overhead locker, saw the bag that he's going to grab to take to New Zealand, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is that even though they didn't find anything at the house, they've been doing a full investigation behind the scenes. Detectives from the Adelaide Drug Squad interviewed Jeff Devlin, Laura's fiance,
right?
Confirmed that she was gone on the dates specified in her diary. Mm-hmm. So now they don't really have to even catch them with anything. They have evidence of a smuggling operation with that. So it doesn't even matter anymore. So information passed on from airport authorities in Bombay, Auckland, Sydney, and Melbourne placed any two of the 6 suspects at the various locations on the dates she had specified. So basically it was all of her notes were just fucking everything completely. Here's everything we've done wrong. We wrote it down for you. There you go. So they were confident that they had the evidence to charge them with conspiring to import cannabis resin into Australia on at least 5 occasions and all of that shit. So Ted was taken into police custody at the music store where he worked. Cheryl was arrested at the gates of her school where she worked. That must have gone over really well. When they get to the police station, everybody's there already. All 6 of them are arrested. They're pretty fucked. They get bail, so they get to get out of there. And their lawyer said, "You're better off pleading guilty. There's a shitload of evidence. There's not really much else you can do. You could be looking at 10 and 20 years here. Between 10 and 20 years is a big deal." And Ted said, "All of us? Everybody?" And they said, "Yeah, the best we can do to try to get a lighter sentence for the girls, but even that's going to be hard. They were clearly accomplices, even though they might not have been handling things. They were obviously in on it. It was the same, too. It's not like you got a different one every time." Right. So they were like, "Shit, what do we do?" Then there's headlines. Reg Spiers and 5 others accused of drug trafficking. The guy who shipped himself shipping drugs now. And you can imagine all of the different headlines and how that would work. So they are charged with importing 40 kilos of cannabis resin worth $1.2 million into Australia between May and November of the year before. They get bail, and they could be facing prison sentences of up to 20 years. So in the paper, it said Spiers, co-accused in the magistrate's court yesterday, included his partner, Miss Annie Hayes, restaurant staff Nico and Laura Paulus, and Ted Bate and his wife Cheryl. Until recently, Mrs. Bate taught at a local primary school where staff and parents have told the Inquirer that they are shocked by the news of her indictment. The defendants pleaded not guilty and reserved their defense for the Supreme Court. That's what they say. So Reg said the whole thing's been a huge mistake.
On our part or the
cops'
law
part?
enforcement?
The cops' part, yeah. So, huge mistake. They said it's just because Reg is well known because of the box thing. Otherwise, it wouldn't even be in here. So they go to court, like we said, what they're charged with here. Spiers ends up pleading guilty. Okay. And is sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off 10 years.
Jesus.
But he's got bail before he has to go serve. So he's got he's got like the Henry Hill situation. Now take me to jail. Yeah. So he's got one of those. He says, I got to flee. I'm not fucking staying here. This is crazy. Gotta go.
Can you build me a box?
Anybody else? Oh, yeah. Any more boxes? I know a good box guy in Australia. So he said, I got to take off. I got to do this. So they end up, him, Annie, Nico, they all decide to take off, but just the three of them, Ted, Annie, and Nico. They leave behind Laura, Nico's sister, and Ted and Cheryl, the couple. Right. They leave those behind. They leave them behind. Ted, when they talked about taking off, Ted didn't really seem too into it. He was like, I don't know, man, that sounds crazy.
I think I'm going to serve my time and get out.
Yeah. So Reg, they're talking, and Nico says, well, what do we do? How do we do this? And Reg says, we apply for real passports with fake names. That's all. He's got a plan. They said, what fake names? What are you talking about? We have to give a bunch of information. And he says, real names of other people. I've already worked out who I'm going to be. A bloke called Bruce Pennington. They said, who the hell is Bruce Pennington? And he said, some bloke who used to go to the athletics club and dreamed he could be a pole vaulter. There's this book there. Everyone writes their info, date of birth and stuff. He left because he wasn't much good. Bit of a wimp, our Bruce, and guess what? Terrified of flying, never been out of Australia, and I bet he's never applied for a passport until now. Good deal. So they need to find fucking more, shut-ins, essentially.
Flight fearful people.
Yeah, who never have gotten off of the island they live on. So they said, everyone's like, this could work. They said they're just going to everyone's going to have to find someone who they know is not going to fly anywhere.
Yeah.
That's all. So they said, let's do this shit. They found, so then Nico says, remember that family that lived on our street? Their son was born on the same day as me, and our mums always made us share the party. And they go, yeah, good old James Brampton. Jimmie, Reg said, still lives with his mom. I never thought he was playing with a full deck. So he's a little slow or whatever. So they said, Nico said, he's not likely to be jetting off to New York for corporate takeovers anytime soon. So they're like, perfect. This is fucking awesome. We got it. So they're deciding that where they're going to go. You know what I mean? Where do we go? They're trying to figure out. They're like, maybe Singapore, maybe this, maybe that. They get the passports, actually, which is crazy. So they get their passports. They do all of this. Bruce Pennington, Sonia Priestley, and James Brampton are
unbelievable
going to take off. They said there's 2 flights to Singapore through Melbourne. Annie and I will take the morning flight. Annie will go on to Singapore, and I'll hang around in Melbourne and take a later connection. You fly straight through on the morning flight the next day. We can't book anywhere to stay. Nothing should be traceable. I've done this before. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Believe me, if I can shit myself. So Nico writes a letter. Dear Ted, Cheryl, and Laura.
Let's write some more things down.
Oh, my God. This isn't easy, but it's my job to write it, so I better get on with it. First, I want to tell you, Laura, that you've always been a fantastic sister. I didn't think what I'm doing was the right thing for you, and I knew you'd want to come with me. Don't think you're going to spend much time inside, and you'll be out before you know it. Oh, great. Good for you. Holy shit. This'll blow over in a few years. Please smooth it over with Mom and Dad for me. Please smooth over that you're going to prison because of dumb shit I did and that I'm on the run from international law enforcement agencies.
For the dumb shit I've done. Yeah,
just smooth that
for me.
Wow. Don't be angry with me, with any of us. Perhaps I'm being a coward, but you haven't heard the stories about what happens to, and it's in quotes, WOG boys like me in jail.
WOGs.
WOGs, WOG boys and shit. I don't know what that means either. See, we don't know what the fuck they're talking about. We didn't want to involve you three any more than you already are. Ted and Cheryl, you've been really good mates. We never intended to leave you out of this. Reg and Annie were going on their own, and I found out and wanted to take my chances with them. We know you'll think we're crazy. We probably are. We send all our love, and we'll see you again one day. Just don't know where or when. Destroy this immediately when you've read it. Take care, and good luck with the case. In some ways, I wish I were staying instead of facing the unknown. Love from all of us, Nico, Reggie, and Annie. Please destroy this.
James has read it, therefore it was not destroyed.
It's not destroyed, that's what I mean. Clearly not destroyed. Didn't follow directions. So they were thinking, too, we could probably wait a couple years and slip back into Australia with new passports and just pretend to be different people. We could probably do that. I'm sure it'll be a good deal. But they also say it's probably Interpol's probably looking for us, so that's not great.
That's not good at all.
So they end up in Bombay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where they all end up. They go from here to there through here. They end up in Bombay, and they're at the airport. They're changing their cash into rupees and doing all that kind of shit. And right on the front page of the newspaper, they have an Australian newspaper there, top athlete skips bail on drug charges. They're like, shit, details of everything, pictures of him. He's like, son of a bitch. They have disguises and everything. They have glasses. He's got glasses on, and he's got a brown curly wig rather than her red hair. They look totally different. Reg is going, and they have a little money at first, but it's running out quick. They're, buying some hash and smoking it and hanging out and eating. Now they need a large supply so that he could offload for cash so they could start doing things. You know what I mean? People needed to look at them like they were extended vacationers, not people holding up in a cheap room and ordering, meager food.
Little by little trying to get by.
Yeah, that can't be what they're doing because that'll be suspicious after a while. Mm-hmm. They end up finding a guy named Kurt Danson, this guy here. Now, they're talking to this Kurt Danson. What they decide to do, Kurt and Reg decide, this is fucking crazy, okay? They find big ships, okay, in the harbor. What they're going to do is they get these metal fucking boxes and wetsuits and all this shit. They're going to load this box with drugs, coke, hash, whatever they can get in there, stuff it into this box. They have underwater welding equipment. They're going to go under and fucking attach this box to the underside of the ship, to the hull of the ship. So no one will know. And then on the other side, when the ship gets into where it's going, someone will dive under and go pop it off. And cut it off.
Okay.
Now that's their fucking plan.
That's ballsy.
Yes. While they're doing it, it's Reg and Kurt are going to do this. They get in the wetsuits. They go out there. Police end up catching them in the act, but thinking they're tourists and thinking they swam out too far and got lost and they're tourists, right? So, but it does get reported to the other police. So for right now, they're let go. The next day, okay, January 5th, 1982, they're in room 30 and 31 in this hotel, or 29 and 30, I don't remember. Or 29 and 30 it is, Kurt and Reg, okay? Kurt, what they always do is they make sure to put the do not disturb sign on so no one comes in the room when they have like illegal shit scattered around. Kurt was so tired, he forgot to put the do not disturb on.
Oh, boy.
He had sliced his hand open on the container the night before and didn't even bother to make it stop. So he's basically lying on the bed like he's dead with blood all over the sheets.
Oh, God.
And the room's a fucking mess because they came in. The sheets have like soil all over them and there's blood stains everywhere. The maid walks into this. There's wetsuits strewn about with sand all over them and shit.
She thinks it's been a murder.
Yeah, it looks like a dead guy on the bed. Yeah. Somebody trashed the room. So she freaks out. Oh, my God, runs downstairs. The man in 29, he's dead, he's dead. So plainclothes officers from the Criminal Investigation Department are dispatched, and they get there. And basically they come in, they talk to Kurt, and they sit him down. And they said, I want to know what you're doing here, and where were you last night, is what they asked Kurt. Kurt tries to, go, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a tourist. I like to dive. I dive everywhere I go. I love it. It's fun. Yeah. That's where it's great diving around here. And they say, we're going to give you one last chance to tell us what you were doing yesterday evening.
Yeah. Who dives in Bombay?
And now, Kurt's an American, by the way. He's like a California surfer guy who is in between school years and whose parents paid for him to go travel for a little bit before he graduated.
So he's a young guy.
He's like a hey brah surfer bro from California.
You don't understand. I heard Bombay's got like the most Bombay diving, so that's why I came here. It's like
it's rad, man.
You ever been to LA and you ever heard them say like that's Bombay, man? That's why I'm here.
That's why I'm here, man. Total fucking
idiot.
What's his name? God damn it.
I don't know.
Spicoli. God damn it.
Yes, there you go.
I almost ripped this microphone out and threw it because I'm like, fucking God damn it. So he's very Spicoli.
Yeah.
So they're like,
that doesn't add up, man.
So finally he said, I'll tell you, fixing a box on the bottom of a boat.
Yeah.
And they were like, a box on the bottom of the boat? Why would you, what are you talking about?
See, it wasn't broken. It was a real good box. I just wanted to put it there till it got to the end of the boat trip.
You know how that just floated around. So they said, they said, why? And he said, to send it somewhere. And they said, send it where? He said, Australia. They said, so it was an Australian boat? He said, yeah. They said, so you've sent a box to Australia? And he says, no, I didn't get to send the box to Australia. So no, I didn't. And then the guy says, this is fucking amazing. They must get, because this is the early 80s, they must get some American TV over there. Because then he says, quote, you're making me angry, Mr. Danson, and you won't like me when I'm angry. He must have Hulk over there. They must have Hulk reruns, right? It's the only way. It's just like an English phrase.
Angry. I get green around here.
Oh, shit. So he ends up spilling the beans, this kid. He ends up giving it up. So next thing they go back in and they talk to Reg. Reg is up next, and Reg and Annie are in the next room, and they search his room, and they, tear through all of his shit, and they arrest them, and they take them in, and they whatever. Reg is held in a detention center for 2 weeks, and it's he was just telling himself, I can get through it, I can get through it. They carted Annie off to the women's facility too, so who knows? He didn't know what the hell to do. He was like, Jesus Christ, I can't help her. I can't help myself. This is fucked. He can't communicate with anybody. Most people there don't speak English. So he eventually came across a prisoner who spoke English. He thought that was pretty great. He was like, holy shit, someone who speaks English here. The prison or the jail at this time, the holding facility he's in, is described as a hellhole. Dark, dank space that looks like the film set of a horror movie. His roommates were a crowd whose credentials ranged from simpletons to the criminally insane. One evening, he counted over 40 of them sandwiched in like caged hens in a space no more than 20 by 30 square feet. Their communal room, 40. Their communal room was like a dungeon, a filthy, windowless place at the end of a row of 4. The stench of urine and feces oozed from the toilet, a dugout with fly-ridden newspaper, excrement, and squatting men. That's how it's described in this book. So that's not great. He said that his first week, he said a couple guys were ruffling his hair because he had blonde hair. Okay. They would ruffle his hair, and he said he was used to that because people would do that all the time. But some guy ended up ripping a clump out of it, a clump of his hair out. So Reg beat the living shit out of this guy.
Yeah.
Pummeled him. And he said, though, he got big, deep scratches and bites from the guy. The guy scratched him and bit him, but he pummeled him, I guess. So he said the guards didn't protect anybody. They would beat people more than anything. He said the best defense was just to act crazy and pretend you're crazy and have people stay out of your fucking way. That's it. Now, Annie is released from the women's prison after serving only 6 months.
Really?
Only 6 months. They were able to communicate a couple of times because he would stand on the top of his building and he could yell to her. And then he got a letter from her after she left the jail. She reassured him that she'd met with his court-appointed lawyer, and they said they'll probably free you in a few months too. She got money for bail. Everything's good. So he is supposed to be sentenced, and he could get a couple years in India once he gets out on bail. Instead, he escapes India. Takes off, jumps bail in India. So now he's on 2 different continents want him in prison. So this isn't good. So he escapes from there. He is next. He is next. Pops up publicly in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Okay. He is at.
How did he get down there?
Bandaranaike Airport. He's in Sri Lanka. December 1st, 1984. He's traveling on a French passport under the name Patrick Claude Albert Ledoux.
Not bad.
Not too shabby there. Problem is, Sri Lankan customs officials find 41 packets of drugs, including 1 kilogram of heroin hidden in a cassette recorder in his possession. It's his old trick.
Yeah.
It's his old trick.
He didn't even evolve.
No. So he is arrested in Sri Lanka for a kilo of heroin.
And that is like death sentence shit there, I'm sure.
Well, he's found guilty in June 1987. He's there for 3 years before he gets a trial, too.
Shit.
So he's held there for 2.5 years anyway. Found guilty on 4 counts of possessing heroin and 1 count of possessing hash.
Okay.
And the sentencing comes up, and it's harsh there. It's not the same. You, sir, may fuck off. Death penalty.
Yeah.
He got the death penalty for that.
Holy shit.
So he is now sentenced to death in a Sri Lankan prison.
Oh, my God.
This went way far from having some fun shipping myself to Australia, didn't it?
From it fits it ships
Shit got dirty.
to, boy, we're going to kill you.
Shit got dirty. So there are some appeals processes here to this. And during this appeal, he does receive a reprieve.
Oh.
And he is forced, though, so they will deport him, and he will serve. He'll go to Australia because Australia wants him. Mm-hmm. They basically said, if you never come back and you go to Australia, you can fuck off. Yeah. That's how it works. If you ever come back here again, we got a life sentence for you.
We're going to kill you at the airport.
Yeah, right at the airport. I don't care what your passport says. So he gets back to Australia, and now guess what? He's wanted for his thing from years ago now.
Right.
So now he's got to do that, and he gets sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off 5 years in prison in Australia.
That's a lot lighter sentence.
Wow, that's a lot different. That's for his 1980 shenanigans there.
Right.
So he does about 3 years in prison, and he stays quiet for a while,
as
you might
almost
imagine.
Got killed in Sri Lanka.
He's had quite the life. Let's be realistic here.
Shit, man.
If you didn't know that, we wouldn't do an entirely fake episode, you would imagine this story isn't real, correct?
Yeah.
Does this sound made up to you or what? It sounds made up, right?
He almost died.
Whenever we do a made up story, like we did the Fast Eddie Rothman thing, by the way, I love how 3 people will get fucking vehemently angry with me. Angry. They're pissed.
Yeah.
I fucking wasted 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I was laughing. I thought it was. So you were laughing for 40 minutes. Yeah, sounds like a real waste of time. Get the fuck out of here. Shut up. But
so painful.
It's so, oh God, must be terrible, right? And then you heard the rest of the story. And it was
Waste your
true.
time for 40 minutes. Oh,
holy Jesus. All you could do was laugh during it. Oh my God. Oh no. So I tell you what, guess what? Every time you watch stand-up, nothing they're saying is true. Nothing.
All fake.
It's all made up. Would you be mad if 40 minutes in, the guy said, by the way, everything I've told you for the last 40 minutes, none of it's true? Would you go, oh, I'm fucking leaving right now? If you would, definitely never see comedy because
I'm not paying my tab.
No.
He lied to me.
He lied to me. Liar. This is why you should have to pay for tickets after the show, like airfare with Jimmie Whisman. Because this is bullshit. So, anyway, 5 years there in a prison. So, 2011 comes along.
Yeah.
Okay, 2011 comes along, and he is he's got a daughter named Jane Margaret Spiers.
Yeah.
In 2011, she's 44 years old. Okay. She's 44. She, in 2011, is convicted on several counts of manufacturing a controlled drug and 1 count of manufacturing controlled drugs for sale.
In Australia?
In Australia.
Holy shit.
In South Australia here. She pleads guilty to manufacturing a controlled drug and making it for sale in 2009. The judge said that she had Spiers let her partner and associates transform her housing trust home into a clandestine lab, which had the potential to make 1.2 kilos of methamphetamine worth between $200,000 and $600,000. She turned her apartment into a meth lab.
Meth lab, yeah.
Wow. Virtually the entire premises has been taken over by this sophisticated and elaborate manufacturing process. And, she gets out on bail for this. While out on bail, she is caught making it again. While out on bail.
Money, James.
Yeah, that's the thing. Got to pay for that lawyer. So they talked to her. She said much of her childhood was disrupted by her father's shenanigans and sports career, and she later became addicted to drugs after her father became involved in the smuggling trade for 10 years. So, she was said it was one of those. She is sentenced to, you, young lady, or ma'am, she's 44, may fuck off 6 years in jail for that.
They're awfully kind there.
It's not bad. And a 3-year non-parole period. So she's got to do at least 3 years there. So that's not, not great, I'd say, for her. Now, 2012, Reg is arrested again. In 2012, he's 71 fucking years old.
Jesus Christ, Reg.
He had to go to Port Adelaide Magistrates Court with his co-accused, Caitlin Beth Disney. I don't know if she's one of those Disneys,
She's got
but
to be one of the Disneys.
She's 54, I assume his girlfriend. They live together. They are charged with cultivating and trafficking a commercial quantity of cannabis and illegal possession of a revolver.
And a gun.
And a gun. You got to protect all that weed.
Yeah.
Got to protect all that weed, man. What are you going to do? So, him and Miss Disney here are in deep shit. Eventually, they come up, and the charges get dropped, though, on it.
A whole new world for
the
him.
Charges get dropped. A whole new world.
They aren't. He's not going to jail for it? That's incredible.
The problem was their main piece of evidence turned out to be the exculpatory piece of evidence because the slipper did not fit. So if the glass slipper does not fit, you must acquit. That's the way it works.
Hakuna Matata, motherfucker.
That's what I'm saying. You get it, right? Now you see where I'm coming from. Yeah. That's the problem. So when that happens, then what?
You move along.
You got to move along.
Find the one that it fits.
You got to fucking move along.
Feet's too fat.
That's it. Just keep swimming, man. It's Pixar, but whatever.
It's Disney. It is. They own
it is. So there you go. Anyway, charges are dropped. So in 2014, a book was released, Out of the Box, The Highs and Lows of a Champion Smuggler. And that's where a lot of the box stuff came from there. It was endorsed by Spiers, and he told them all about it and told them everything that happened. Covers his details of his journey from England to Australia, as well as there's a lot more of his drug smuggling stuff in there, too. I just thought we've had enough of we're going to go here, then we're going to go there, we're going to go there. How many times can we say that? So
he's not going to stop.
No. He's 71. He's good. Now maybe he's just chilling with his weed, though. He's definitely
He's 81 today.
He's 80. He's still alive.
Oh, my God.
He's still alive, too. He's still out there. Reg, if you're out there, you're quite the character, bro. Stick to just smoking weed, chilling in your house, relaxing. I mean, honestly, we can't be having you get arrested more, please.
You can't go in your 80s, man.
Don't make assholes out of us, Reg. Seriously, because we're vouching for you right now. We're saying he's going to be cool. He's just going to kick back with his weed. He's not going to cause trouble, be a menace. So
I'm pulling for you. I hope your daughter and Megan both are doing very well.
Don't make a jerk off out of me, Reg, please. I don't like it.
Fuck, he's nuts.
He's nuts. So either way, that is Reg Spiers, and not a lot of sports in that one, really.
Well, that's
unless you
what
consider
happens.
Smuggling a sport, or coffin sitting. That's a sport, I guess.
That's what happens when an Olympic athlete is not the star and fucking hero of a country.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They got to make money somehow.
It takes so much to become an Olympic athlete. You have to dedicate so many years of your life. You probably lose the string of any other thing you're doing because you
Right.
don't have time to do it. You're so worried about your body and your training and all that kind of shit. Like,
and the time and investment you put in that, if you don't put that into a career at that time, shit, man, when you get into the workforce now, there's people that are 10, 15 years beyond you.
especially back in the 60s.
Yeah.
In the 60s, it was, you better come out and try to get in somewhere so you can go up the ladder, or else you were going to be shit out of luck. So
getting the rat race in your 30s in the early 90s, that's too late for you.
It's too late. You're fucked. So nowadays, it really doesn't matter anymore because I think people live so goddamn long. Yeah. People are living way too long now, maybe is the
You
reason.
get in the rat race now, Reg.
Yeah, Reg, you're still good, bud. You can still do this. Get your javelin. Fuck it. Who knows?
You're not even eligible for Social Security here yet.
No, yeah, here you. Here we like, you can still work.
Pick up a hammer, motherfucker.
Who you bullshitting? Stand in. No, just put this name tag on. Stand right in the inside of the doors and say, "Welcome to Walmart." How hard is that, motherfucker?
Punch
You're
in,
fine.
punch out.
Don't give me this. I've been working for 76 years bullshit. Get out there and you lazy bums. We have lazy elderly in this country. That's what it is. Lazy. 85, 90. They want to sit back and relax for a while and stop working. What do you think, that you just get to fucking relax now?
You haven't even had a hip surgery yet.
That all that food you eat is free? All that medicine you take every day? You think that's free? Get your ass out there,
Drain
Grandpa.
on society.
Jesus Christ.
Want a fucking handout?
I'm 85. I can't work anymore. Yeah, you can. Get out there. You can get out there, at least get yourself like a warehouse job. You can throw some boxes around. Obviously, this is... Someone will think we're serious if we don't say we're not. That's the fucked up part. Someone's going to go, that's messed up, guys.
That's ageist. That's
It's not cool. That's not cool, man. I think my grandmother should be able to relax in her 80s. So do we. It's fine. So there you go.
I think 60 is way too old to be working.
That's, to me, yes. That seems, I'm tired now.
Yeah.
And I'm nowhere near 60, so can't imagine. So it's got to be rough. So either way, that is Crime and Sports. Reg Spiers. That's wild stuff. If you like that show, tell the world about it.
Yeah.
Get on whatever app you're listening on. Give us 5 stars. And goddamn it, say something nice. It helps drive us up the charts. Or actually, for Crime and Sports, don't even bother because it doesn't really matter anymore because we're almost done with it. But do it for Small Town Murder. That helps us out a lot.
Yeah.
Do all of that. Head over to our social media at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. And you will want to get on there because you're going to see all the live show stuff coming up for 2023. There, we have all the live show dates right here. Very quickly before we do that, though, just want to give the patreon.com/crime and sports. It's where you get all the bonus stuff here. Anybody $5 a month or above, a cup of coffee will buy you all sorts of content. You get like 150 back episodes of bonus stuff that you can binge. And also every other week, you're going to get 2 brand new episodes every damn time. 1 Crime and Sports, 1 Small Town Murder. This week, we are going to go through really strange and hard to explain, but us plus newspapers equals funny. Okay.
Yeah.
And especially us plus old-timey and newspapers equals funny. We're going to go through these newspapers from like the turn of the century, meaning the 1800s into the 1900s, and we are going to find some weird shit, these strange medical ads that make these outrageous claims that have been debunked for 115 years now.
Yeah.
We'll talk about all those. Weird sports headlines. It's so much fun. There's some weird shit. If you know one of the episodes, a few episodes back, we couldn't breathe laughing at these. They were so fucking funny. So check that out. Then for Small Town Murder, it's back again. Holy shit. The season is over, and we're going to talk about it. Love After Lockup. Yes. Love After Lockup. I could not be happier for that. I'm just jacked, psyched, excited to talk about that.
What a season.
Wow, these might be some of the biggest rubes I've ever seen in this season.
Truly.
I think, what's his name? Chad.
Chaz or
Chaz. Chaz.
Yeah.
Chaz may be the biggest rube. No, Deontay is up there too. Those two, I would love to see him and Deontay get together and just argue about who's the bigger rube, because it would be hilarious.
Deontay knows.
Because they're both fucking idiots. So either way, do that. That is patreon.com/crime and sports.
Or is
Find
it
out.
Chance's girlfriend, fiance? That girl's dumb as shit too.
Yeah. Oh, she looks. You can see we'll talk about it on the Patreon. She's one of the stupidest looking people I've ever seen. And then she opens her mouth and you're like, God damn, she talks dumber than she looks. This is crazy. And then
people that depend on her.
He seems like, I cannot wait for you to leave the house so I can molest your kids. That's the vibe I get off of him, allegedly.
And spend all your money.
Spend your money and be
so weird.
A creep.
Yeah.
It's creepy shit. So we'll talk about all that, patreon.com/crime and sports. And we'll also get your shout out, which you'll get here in just a moment after we read the live show dates.
Yeah.
We cannot wait. These are for Small Town Murder, by the way. So come see us at a live show. By the way, we've said this before, but we don't say it all the time. Our live shows are not like a lecture. They're not like everybody sits there and does, oh, haha, or, we just tell you a story. Yeah. We have pictures that we put up, and it is a comedy fucking show. It's so as many laughs as a stand-up show. We structure it a little bit different, so it's concentrating on the comedy, and we bring it fucking hard. So do that shit. Do yourself a favor and come see us.
Yeah.
Let's see the dates here. February the 10th, we are in Cleveland. Oh, boy. At the Agora there. Jesus. 1,106 seats we got to sell in Cleveland. I don't know how the fuck we're going to do that.
Parka.
Come down, Buffalo. Buffalo's been asking us to come there forever. We asked about it. We asked the people that book our shit, and they went, you're not going to sell any tickets in Buffalo. No. Go to Cleveland. Maybe they'll come there. I said, okay, fine. February 11th, the next night, we were in St. Louis at the Pageant, which is a nice theater. That'll be fun there. March 23rd and 24th, Thursday and Friday night, we're in Seattle, back at the Neptune. They were nice to us last time. And then Saturday, the next night, March 25th, in Portland, 2 shows at Revolution Hall there that night.
That's going to be nuts.
That'll be crazy. Friday, May 5th in Detroit, we're at the Masonic. That's another big venue there. Saturday, May 6th in Pittsburgh, we're at the Carnegie Music Hall, which is a beautiful venue. Loved that place last year. Saturday, July 15th, we are in, taking June off. Sorry, that's kids' times there. We spend time with our kids in June. So Saturday, July 15th, we are in San Diego at the Observatory. That'll be a fun one there. Can't wait for that.
Summertime in San Diego.
Oh, baby. Friday, the 28th of July, we are in Salt Lake City at the Depot, which we were at last time. That was a great venue. We had a blast there. Saturday, July 29th, we're in Denver. That'll be beautiful. Summer Denver. Nice shit at the Newman Center. Friday, August 11th, we're in Minneapolis, back at the Pantages. We love it there. Saturday, August 12th, we're in Chicago. Oh, baby, Chicago and Milwaukee in August. You can't beat, or Chicago and Minneapolis in August. You can't beat it. They're so nice. Yeah. We can't wait. That's at the Auditorium Theater, which is a beautiful theater that looks like there should be like a world-famous symphony playing there.
It's wild.
Let's muck it up with dick jokes and murder stories. Let's fuck it all up. It's a huge venue, so Chicago, come hard for us, guys. We love you. Thank you. That's right. I said it. Come hard. Right in our faces. I don't give a shit. If it sells the place out, go for it.
Got me right in the ball back.
I know it did. That's why I said it. That's why I looked at you while I said it.
Real deep.
Real deep. September the 8th, we're in Atlanta at the Tabernacle, a little bigger venue there than we've been last couple of years. And Saturday, September 9th, we are in Charlotte at the Night, which is part of the festival, I believe, the Queen City Festival.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. They're nice people there. Friday, October 5th, we are in Philly at the Fillmore.
Hell yeah.
October the 7th, we are in Washington, D.C. at the Howard.
Yeah.
You might have noticed a few that we definitely are going to be at that are missing. That's just because they're being finalized right now, so we don't have exact dates. New York, Boston, and New York, we're going to go a little north of the city, like Westchester, so people can come in from Connecticut and other places and not have to worry about parking, because that's a real bitch. So New York, Boston, Milwaukee, and Phoenix are 4 that I know are going to be coming up. So we will be doing that, definitely, and we are so excited for those shows. Cannot wait for them, honestly. Can't wait to come see us at a live show. We do make it worth it. We promise you that. That I do want to hear now, though. Now that we've done all this, I want to hear the names of the people that would work very hard to build us a box to ship us across the world and make sure we don't get crushed into little tiny pieces. Jimmie, hit me with that list.
This week's executive producers are Diane Ringel, Casey Shatters, Marilyn Brandfast, James. That's your new Italian grandma. If you didn't know that, she makes a wonderful sauce, and she swears and stuff. So she's wonderful.
Well, that's cool. Apple
Thank
knife,
you,
I
Marilyn.
hope. Packing a knife.
I imagine she is. And also Randy Polanich. I'm going.
Thank you.
Polanic. Thank you all so much for everything you do. Truly,
Absolutely.
It means the world to us. Other producers this week are Buster Hyman, Reverend.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch, Gary.
You said that, Buster Hyman.
I didn't get it until right when I read it out loud.
Really? That's amazing.
Reverend Seymour Perlmutter. I don't know what that one means, but
I'm sure it's something gross.
What's a Perlmutter?
Sure, it has to do with jizz or some jizz-related subject.
Yeah. All right. Steve Gaines of Leonard Skinner, who would have been the next Clapton if not for a plane crash, I'm told. Steve Schnell, somebody tase me.
Hey.
Alexis Earlbeck, my P-Pants ex-girlfriend. Janice Hill, Kieran Laidlaw in South Africa. Alyssa and Brett, Randy. Nope, that's Rachel Branley. I love you. Adam Wyatt, Van Sharpenseal, Lene Morgan, Madison Smoot, Tammy Valachi, Philip with no last name, Helen Murphy, St. Louis Saint, I suppose, STL, Kaylin Bond, Haley Cosino, Mandy Salas, Shell Lauro Weedy, Sarah Holtz, Rain Ramsire. All right. Liz Letterhose. Susie with no last name. Jeremy Fusili. Jackson McMullen. Kelly Waters. Mike Shadina. Peyton French. Andres Lasco 6. Salazar. Bree with no last name.
Yeah.
Moan Spot. Samantha with no last name. Heather Wehab Mouch. Don't know what. No. Greg Macri, Tanya Harden, not Harding, Ashley Brenham, Rebecca Benai, Arnold Thompson, J.S., Cody Board, Matthew Johns, Martin Giola, Rebecca M., Credius, Noah Borer, Zach Valdez, Scott with no last name, Haley Collins, the one and only Jody Lynn, Nathan Mezzo, Caleb Breitenbach, Gary White, Larissa Chadosh, Scary Malice, Jada Larson, Charlie Sims, Patricia Callahan, Jonathan Barajas, Deborah Chamness, Hillary F., Anthony West, Elizabeth Greil, Callie Grant, Zach Donahue, Chris Graham, Derek Austin, Felicia Palmer, Arsenic Catnip, that's not nice, James Lee, Billy Duncan, William Sutton, Zach with no last name, Allie Parker, Patrick D., Callie Nichols, Josh A.L., Sky Olszynski, Michaela Means, Elizabeth Bell, Rizal Lee, Mark Quinn Baker, Allison Kosar, Bernie's daughter, Christy Brugan, Sarah Taylor, Aaron Ailes, Sarah Ramirez, Kristen Fowler, Gabrielle Calvesbert, Amanda S., Rachel Fowler, Ryan Simpson, Ashley Davis, Ali, Crystal Sims, Jeff Goss maybe, Michael Gebert, Chance Smith, Rebecca with no last name, Amber Solis, Becky Thompson, Michelle McKenzie, Lindsay Dinkla, Vicky Schlunenberger, Jim Behrens, Roll Tide, damn it, Elaine Shaben, Jeffrey Caden Stubblefield, Lindsay Miller, Jennifer Moffat, hey, Nicole Cooper, Matt Spruill, Mary Cluis, Tyler Perry, probably not. Linda,
sure.
That would be amazing.
He's got $5 to spare.
I would lose it.
He's got $5 to spare.
Why would I lose it? I've never seen one of those movies.
It's just
because I know his name.
Not a Tyler Perry fan, but the fact that, not anything against him, just
be amazing.
Yeah.
Linda Salvatore, Kathy Nordstrom, Craig Hoffman, Kaylin Stewart, Andrea Fowler, Ricardo Vander Nat, David Dahl, Ryan Callison, Drayton Gagliano, Heather Price, Leslie Ruby, Entity Ginja, Rhonda Williams, Nick Nagorny, Joey Duffield. Cassandra Majlika. What? That's not a real word. Jackie Kirby, Aida. I bet I typed that wrong. Aida Blackhawk.
Or it could just be like Pietragallo in a mess.
Probably. Lauren Aunt, Beth Clements, Dustin Taguado, Michelle Smith, Kevin Rosos, Jesse Giarmatino, Martino, Dan Ujair, Laurel Kalinchik, Connie Hansen, Tyler Dereen, William Brown, Eric Brugan, Molly with no last name, Bobby Tory Lane, Christy with no last name, Janet Beck, Amber Ramke, Kara with no last name, Dustin Frawley, Julia with no last name, Ted Espel, Total Capacity, Cooper Marion, Austin with no last name, King Kunta, that feels weird, Zach with no last name, Adam Smith, Danielle Wyman, Brian Crawford, Brittany Wade, Joey Hoffman, Hayden Bork, Sonia Glennon, Erica Marling, Sue Crowley, Nikki Anstein, Matthew Paust, Andrea Perez, Courtney Carson, nope, that's Parsons, Rick Thompson, Dark Energy, Brian Leslie, Gavin KF, Richard Hicks, Cammie DeLapp, Heroin Hawk of West Virginia, Goldie Rose Bates, nice. Andrew Scalisi, Mark Grant, Carlito Herman, Colton with no last name, Jessica Black, Brittany Solkowski, Amanda McGee, Lulu Queenie, Jamie DeAngelis, Chris O'Shea, MJ Hepp, Kara Cowling, Christopher H., Lindsay Sheehan, Framham and the Jam Band. Have a happy super soft birthday, Kendra. Garrett Schnell, Maggie 79, Florida Man Tactical, Kalina Lessie, Haley Clement, Graham Cunningham, Sophie Gorey, yes. Jacqueline Kohler, Kyle Rose, Rob Daniel, Melody Turnbro, Sally Barnum, Lauren Nasreen, Cal Lore, Dominique Ross, Matt Bowie, Connor Ramsey, Aaron Zafer, Nikki Mahaney, Austin Parker, MSWZ, Jeff Rothbun, Melissa Muncie, Richard Collins, Caleb Filson. Yeah, I almost did. I apologize, Melissa. Angela Thompson, Tammy Van Loon, Caleb Filson. I said that. Stephanie Langewiesinis, no way. Rar with no last name. Michelle Moisel, Dakota Jones, Maria Chow, Stephanie Hankel, Brittany and Tyler Randalls, Shannon Sproul, I think, Lauren S., Scott Adams, Luis Marshall, Scott Martin, Jennifer Marie Wenner, Ben Minnick. My eyes are going blurry. Ride Clevenger, Reed.
It's getting ugly.
Read or ride Clevenger. Becky Riggs, Zach Sleto, Drew Brittner, fucking what is that? Christopher Gransberry, my eyes sting. Rebecca Dayrep, and all of our patrons. Thank you for making my eyes sting.
Thank you so much, everybody, from the bottom of our hearts. We appreciate the shit out of all that you do for us, and we can't express it enough to you. So just thank you, and we will try to express it with content and shit that you enjoy and try to make you laugh, and that's the way you'll do it. If you want to follow us on social media, very easy to do that. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. The links are there to everything we just told you about. Do it right there. You can get your Patreon, your social media, your tickets, all one stop. There we go. Try not to smuggle anything from, I don't know. Don't smuggle things in Bombay, let's just say. That seems like a bad idea.
We just gave them the very dated blueprint of how to do it. They can't do it that way anymore.
Don't do it that way.
Boxes don't exist.
Move on. Yeah, they'll be like, why do you have a tape recorder, sir? Oh, I keep it with me. What about, oh, fuck that. So anyway, live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.